show. I think I should lower the music. What's up, everybody? This is Sports Goofs number 122. Why is this not switched on the graphic here? I don't know. It must have not synced to my computer. But regardless, we're here. I'm Francisco. I'm joined by Charles. Andrew is once again, big timing. He's a big timer. He's got to do other things.
I feel that it's basically he's going the way of the Justin Timberlake, and we have to just accept it.
Yeah,
bye.
Yeah, or like an SNL cast member, who just made it, and they've moved on. They're too big for us, So
he hasn't Norm Macdonald it yet, but he always has that potential with his love of UCF.
No, well, Norm Macdonald got kicked out of SNL, you know what I mean?
But he came back.
I mean, he came back to host, and then he had like that epic monologue where he basically said, "The show sucks now."
Yeah, and that would be an Andrew. He'd be like, UCF, because I can see what's gonna happen. He's gonna get hired by his alma mater to be like face of representation.
No, he'll leave the show. Mackenzie Milton will be drafted by like the Jacksonville Jaguars or something and become the greatest quarterback ever, and they win a Super Bowl for the Titans do, and then he'll come back and get on you for your Milton hate.
You're like, you missed me yet? And I'll be like, yeah, you guys didn't even play when we lost. But we'll save that portion for him because I know he's going to want to gloat about saying that's going to be the best Florida team, even though they literally beat nobody this season. Your most recognizable game was the game you lost to Cincinnati, but who's counting?
Yeah.
My petty asses.
Oh, so yeah, Andrew, we expected him to start the show, but whatever. He's going to come back after hearing what the bullshit the College Football Playoff Committee says about whatever rankings and stuff like that, and then he'll come back here and we'll listen to him rant about it.
Do we want to be curmudgeons? Who would dedicate their time to wait for something to be released when they could just do a show and play games and just check their Twitter feed or ESPN? Y'all nerds.
Oh, man.
Who's waiting 8:30 to watch a Spider-Man trailer?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's releasing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That'll probably break the internet right there. But Charles, you're playing Dreams. That's your game. Well, we can start with gaming. Why not? Let's go. Let's see what we've been playing. You've had a bit of a dilemma as far as what to play during the show.
Yeah.
And now you're playing
you need something that is fun, but also not too thought-provoking or in-depth. So Dreams is going to be to create a game and play other people's games kind of thing. I was stuck between Legend of Zelda Hyrule or Age of Calamities, prequel, which has been a non-sponsor for you, and I may or may not. It depends, because I also like to have two alternates.
60 hours, man.
But with the show, man, like look how long it took me to do. I played Pokemon predominantly during the show, and that was like 48 hours, so it makes sense. Times where I just played it to listen to like audiobooks and whatever, so it worked in between. But we did Diablo 3, so it's like I like to have one designated Switch game and one designated PlayStation 4 game to play.
You know what people can also have designated, Charles? They can have Surviving the Aftermath. They can have that, It's available now. Got PlayStation 5, 4, your Xbox One, your Series X. Heck, it's on the Switch too and PC. You can download that.
Maybe it's something that we go to if they ever give us free download codes.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been playing Forza like crazy. Forza Horizon 5.
I can tell.
Yeah.
You and Doug popping in that work 4 hours. I'm like, holy crap, man.
It's one of the few games I can actually I can convince Doug to kind of get hooked on. And you know what? He said something funny to me before we started playing it. He's like, because he put in mad hours in Horizon 4. Like mad hours in that game. That was his after work is over, moves away from the desk, sits down in the chair and just listens to a podcast and play for hours on end until he falls asleep. That was his game for I guess the last couple years now. And so he did pretty much a lot of things you can do in that game. I started playing it. We played a couple of co-op sessions, but for me it was new. For him it was just like going through the motions. And then Horizon 5 comes out, right? It's supposed to be like 5 times bigger. It's in Mexico. Much more colorful, much more intriguing than I thought the UK was in the last game. And And I was like, Doug, this is going down. I was looking forward to it because I've been enjoying the Forza Horizon series, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I don't know if I'll put in as many hours. I feel like Horizon 4 was my peak."
Boy, was he wrong.
Oh, he was wrong, dude. Our last play session lasted 4 hours. 4 hours, right? 4 glorious hours of us just dicking around, playing some races, exploring the world, exploring Mexico, doing some online multiplayer. I mean, this game is legitimately fun. It's super polished. I haven't found many, if any, glitches at all from this game, and it's just super amazing given how big it
That's
is.
that's kind of like Microsoft's bread and butter in the last two generations.
Yeah,
Forget Halo.
yeah,
It really has been Forza.
Forza.
I
Yeah,
think I played Forza Motorsports 3 when I
yeah,
had it on the 360, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
yeah.
But racing games, I'm weird with because it's like I like them, but everything has a lifespan. The same way with I would feel, my God, there's a whole dearth of games I can play any. But the same way I feel when it comes to fighting games
hmm
is the same way I feel about racing games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely get you because I get this urge to play racing games, and it's like this kick, and it's just like this blaze of glory of me just playing racing games and blasting right through them. And then once I get it out of my system, I probably won't want to go back for like maybe months on end, 6 more months later, or maybe even a year later. Because I had that earlier this year when I was playing Need for Speed Most Wanted, and
Yeah,
I
and
thoroughly enjoyed that game.
those can come and go real quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So and that one was more. I was motivated to beat the game, beat the storyline, beat whatever, and that was fun. But Forza's, I think, is one of those games that you binge like crazy. But then once you've had your fill, and I've had, let's see, I've played this game already like think like 20 hours now, 20 hours of gameplay since it came out,
So what's the
and
difference between Horizon and the other one?
which one? Need for Speed
No,
or
no, no. I know that.
the regular
Forza
the
Motorsports and
regular series, right? Well,
yeah,
the regular series is kind of like, I don't know. You play Gran Turismo, I'm assuming.
yes,
It's more, yeah,
overrated. I'm just
more.
saying that right.
Well, and a lot of people feel that way. Feel that Forza is actually superior to it, but it's more about like the simulation aspect of racing. So hey, you
Gotcha.
customize it. It's more realistic in that sense, and I can't get with that. That's too much for me. I'm not a car guy, to be honest. I just give me something fast, give me something flashy, or give me something
We're
stupid
poor.
and fun. Heck, the Warhog from Halo is in this game, and I was racing with that because it's stupid and fun, right? That's the kind of stuff that I like. So like, Horizon's more about exploration, open world. That's why I like Need for Speed Most Wanted because it's open world
Oh
exploration.
man,
You
that
know,
kind of way is just going to appeal to anybody who like to just screw around in
yeah,
Grand Theft Auto.
yeah. You dick around, you do tricks, you set high scores. They got ramps, they got all kinds of stuff, man. You can do that. I don't know what Surviving the Aftermath looks like, a strategy game from what it looks like from the trailer that's popping up on us. But hey, they're sponsoring us, and they're going hard today on our show. So
Listen, free download code
yeah,
right here. Just throw it
yeah,
to us.
yeah, for real. And Forza has been. I mean, I haven't. I don't think it'll be. It's not my non-sponsor for this week. It's not, but I haven't thoroughly enjoyed it for sure. And my Xbox Game Pass subscription is about to lapse. My free 3 month trial is about to be over, Charles. And
But then
I cannot and I cannot justify continuing it, to be honest.
yeah, but you get the Black Friday deals, man.
I know, and you're sending them to me, and
Yeah,
my tendency to hoard video games is alive and well. Just
yeah.
because I sold off and made a bunch of money on my old collection doesn't mean that I still don't have that tendency. I'm an addict. I know this. I've
He's got
accepted this.
problems.
I've accepted this. Okay, I have a PlayStation. I have a crackhead PlayStation 3. Okay, under any other normal circumstances, I shouldn't have bought this, but I did. But I did. I wanted to play God of War. I wanted to play Metal Gear Solid 4 because Konami has not re-released that game on anything else, right? And they took down MGS 3 and 2 from like PC and a bunch of other. I think even on PlayStation and Xbox as well. So you need to find a physical copy. So I'm getting these now before they all go away. Heck, Rockstar took down the old collection of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas from PC and PlayStation, whatever,
That was
just
a good decision.
so they could re-release the trilogy, which good business decision, but holy crap, are people pissed off at them for their hack job of the newest re-releases of these games. So I'm not buying it. It doesn't. I'd probably just rather get it on like 360 or PS3, just like, whatever. It'll be cheaper that way too.
I don't see the incentive to go back to a Grand Theft Auto game when you've actually played 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And 4 and 5 are just so technically sound. They're not. Look, I'll say right now, 5's not as fun as the OG ones, and I know that's sacrilegious to some people because 5 has been able to get pimped out on 3 generations. But the truth is the truth, kids, and the truth hurts, as Lizzo would say in her music.
And people keep buying it, and there's no incentive to make a 6th. So, I mean, not like they
there's
aren't
always
making a
10-year-old
6th.
who wants to run people over.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
We'll probably see the 6th one in like 2023. I bet that's probably when we'll see it.
Yeah.
You know,
Red Dead 3.
Yeah, well, that'll be 2024 or 2025, something like that. So I played through that, and I need to get to Age of Calamities DLC that popped off this month as well. The final extra chapter to the series, so that'll be good. And I'm trying to think of like I always get my sister like a Switch game for Christmas. I don't know what to get her this year. I'm not sure.
Mario Golf.
I don't know if she's a golf. We've never played. We never owned Mario Golf. I don't know if she has the patience.
But
for
like
that.
I never had a Mario Tennis, and I loved Aces. I popped in 25 hours on that when you're just a Mario character, like swapping. It's fun playing people.
Yeah.
But you also, I actually appreciate golf for what it's worth. So, yeah. But it's also not the season of Nintendo games right now.
No,
For me it is. I am Dread hardcore.
Yeah, and I might get my dad that Zelda Game and Watch because I think he would appreciate that. But aside from that, I'd rather. I'll see if I get my sister a Switch game or something. She's still going through something, but I mean, now I got to plan out what because I know this racing game itch will be ending, and soon I won't be able to play Horizon 5 because I'll let my Game Pass go. So like,
yeah, that's what you think.
Yeah, I will. I've spent enough money on games this year, even though I can actually get an extra month for like $1. So, I'm trying to think of what my next game is going to be, and I feel like it needs to be a AAA title. It can't be like these little indie games or even like the retro games from like an NES or Super Nintendo game. It has to be like and look at that, Forza Horizon 5 is actually sponsoring us. This is bad. This is bad.
Yeah. You're like, oh, you trying to leave me?
Oh, we got Fortnite, we got Rocket League, Horizon 5 right now, Xbox Series X, S.
Sorry, but the truth is
oh
the truth.
My God. Damn, this look at that Xbox Series S. My God, Microsoft really does not want to let me go. Now that they got me with all these achievements.
Everybody's gonna hate. Everybody's gonna hate Halo Infinite for the love of God. Buy our perfectly priced and we're bleeding money like crazy console. Exclusive pass that's cross brand.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now that is legitimately scary that we're talking about this right now and that just popped off that I'm leaving Game Pass. But yeah, I feel like Control would be. I feel like Control should be the next game. I feel like that it should be.
It was my game of the year of what, 2 years ago that I put it on?
Well, it was nominated for Game of the Year too, right? In one of the Video Game Awards, I think. So.
Yeah, but those are all hacks anyway. Yeah, like they actually, the community, the video game community did release their list this year, and Deathloop happens to be on it.
Yeah,
But everybody knows my stance now on the umpteenth time. I never like to put a game on recommendation until
you're
I beat it.
done. Yeah,
You know, it's only fair because some games do not stick the landing. Like, for example, the same company that made Deathloop, here I am putting 30 hours into Prey, and then your boy ends up hating that stuff.
mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. But there is some guess. I think Switch wise, if you were going to get anything for your sister, if anything, get that eShop card or get one of those fancy controllers. You know that Nintendo likes to pimp that out.
Mm.
If you're going to go for a AAA title, if you don't go with Control, um, you could always just go with the God of War stuff, and that's it. And since you have a fancy, duper computer kind of thing, you can always contemplate trying out the PS Now because they're going to drop that in price. Because I think Forza Horizon and God of War are going to be on there, so you can actually play the PlayStation stuff on it. But I don't know how the ports would look like.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna. Sony hasn't really released their plans as to how they're releasing these games. I think that it'll be on Steam. I think they're gonna have like their own store, which it'll be fine. I don't care. I don't care how I get it. But yeah, my gaming taste, because I know this racing game itch is gonna go away. I've already had it for like a month now, and
Side note: Best Buy has had really good deals on Switch games. We have these games, but for anybody who's actually listening to us, I'm like, I saw Mario Kart for like 38, and I saw Mario Odyssey for 38.
And these are Nintendo games, so they don't drop in price very often. So
yeah,
it's
and these are the creme de la creme of games.
Get yourself the OLED model, get yourself some games, you're good to go. But all right, so that was one conversation we've had. Me and Charles are always dishing on the gaming stuff, right? And
then we'll get Andrew.
Doug actually might sell me his Xbox One because I can't stop. I am much like he knows I'm an addict. Doug knows I'm an addict.
Do you even need it? Because
I don't need it. I do not. But do I want it? I of course would want it. Heck, if Charles is like, "I'll sell you my PS4," I'd be like, "Do I need it? No, but do I want it?"
Yeah, and the thing is that there's no benefit to get an Xbox Series S. I think that's what it's called because it's only digital, so it's not like you can get the.
Oh no! I need physical. I need something with physical media because I don't plan on like I've already made the full on choice of hey, get the physical version, sell them off when they're when the people are good and ready to go through their midlife crisis. That's what I'm very much gonna take advantage of that. So yeah, but I know I have a problem. Like I finally acknowledged it this year. Charles is very happy this year that I finally came to this revelation.
This is good. I mean, I know who I am. I have realized I'm that person who I'm like a communist's like mortal enemy because I own like all the consoles. The only one I chose not to go with was Xbox, but if they actually had things that were worth
getting
my time and investment, I would have picked them up. Because the Xbox One didn't have anything for me. They ruined Halo 5, so I was like, no. And right now, listen, how do I want to say this delicately? I don't care if you bought out Bethesda. I really don't. You know what I mean?
I mean, did you get Sky? I mean, I've never played Sky. I've never played Skyrim. It's not my deal.
Skyrim because it's not my deal either because I like RPGs with a purpose, if that makes sense. So having a vast world to explore to me is soulless. And I remember in my time playing bits for the Elder Scrolls, but I think I was more about all the Skyrim stuff for the memes, Fossero Who or whatever the thing was.
Yeah.
If you remember that stuff.
But
we talk about how bad GTA is. Anything Bethesda's right there too, because at least with Grand Theft Auto, it's the physics glitches. Oh no, it died. The physics glitches that are weird. But it's not anything compared to like how game breaking Skyrim can be. So I don't care for it. So it's really like you're looking in the mirror, essentially, when you're Bethesda doing that. So I never did any of that stuff. And I like new IPs as well. And
I
want to see what creativity kind of looks like.
Yeah, some one-off, some cinematic games, right?
Yeah, like give me something to kind of work with. Granted, if they made another Wolfenstein, I'd be happy. But I enjoyed Shadow of the or Shadow of or Wolfenstein New Colossus as it was commonly
Mm-hmm.
the game's
Mm-hmm.
confused immensely. However, they made Young Bloods, which is like a continuation but not a continuation. So I don't
Yeah,
really
the
know,
the
and I didn't
storyline's
because it
kind
was
of
a rail
weird.
shooter.
Yeah.
So like, but when you look at Xbox now, that's all you got because Infinite. I'm done with the Halo series. I hate to say it, and it wasn't Halo 4 that stopped me. I thoroughly enjoyed Halo 4. I actually thought it was peak sci-fi. It screwed the final battle wasn't that all fantastico, but I thought it was immensely enjoyable. And people who didn't like it really probably just had a hard on for I got a trophy, got a hard on for
3 or 2.
3 or just everything that Bungie did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we did 5, and not going into spoilers because you'll probably play it, but 5 was just a big. I didn't agree with any of it. And I didn't play it. I knew it was going to happen. I got the idea of it. And then Infinite, I'm like, meh, because if you notice, they talked about it, but what's the story? There is no story. And you got Bethesda, but the problem is that a lot of Sony at least is buying out developers. Insomniac, who made Ratchet and Clank and the Spider-Man game, they got bought out. They used to be independent and they got bought out.
Mm-hmm.
They bought out Blue Point Games, which did a lot of the remasters and remakes. They did the remakes for Demon Souls, so they're approaching it like immensely in the right way. We're like, oh no, you work for me now.
Yeah.
I'm the captain here, and
Yeah.
that's probably the way you should do things. It's really what Nintendo kind of does itself
Yeah.
because here's the thing: even though the consoles don't push, people know that they're gonna always get a. I haven't played a Nintendo game that was at least an 8 rated by me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and that's where like Sony's
Yeah. A
mentality was because
solid experience where it was like, yeah,
yeah,
nothing was wrong with it. Nothing technically was wrong with it. You know?
yeah, and just it was reputable. I mean, Nintendo has produced to me in the Switch, I would say possibly 3 9 to 10s this generation that they have, and Sony with the same approach has produced
Mm-hmm.
I would say 3 10s or close to 10s because God of War arguably a 10. It is a 10. Um, what was it? Spider Man's arguably a 10, 9.5 at
Yeah.
best or
Even
at worst.
even like
And
The Last
Deathloop
of
would be a
Us, like people didn't agree with the
That's an exception.
story, but I mean that's technically speaking, you can't argue that it
Yeah,
wasn't
and
well put together.
and here's the thing: we don't. There's in this generation, there's two things I cannot tolerate now: bad graphics, bad frame rate.
Mm, yeah.
It's just I shouldn't get stutter steps with the Switch. It's going to happen unless it's a pure Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Because then your third partiers don't know how to deal with the docking and the
Yeah.
frame rates, and I think
Or
Nintendo's
or
like
nin-
real as a main computer.
that or Nintendo, their art direction kind of carries it. And it's like, you know what? We don't need it to look like this. We could just make it look like a freaking piece of art. And
Yeah,
it'll just
but
like, yeah,
it works.
yeah. No, of course. Yeah.
I mean, we look at it. What is it? Because now I have to think about it. You got
Like I'm
Nintendo's
excited for that
210s.
next Kirby game, man. That looks legitimately
Oh,
serious.
oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Last of Us Kirby,
Yeah.
perfectly,
For real.
perfectly into it. That's gonna be an 8.
Yeah.
Even like their secondary games like Yoshi and Kirby, I enjoy enough to play it, to buy
Yeah.
it, and give it a 7.5 and say this is chill.
Yeah.
But we know Odyssey was a 10. We know that Breath of the Wild was a 10. I don't play Firehouse.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's not my jive. I would try for like $20. I'm not gonna lie.
Even
$20. I'm like, yeah,
even the game that everybody was just kind of like slapped across the side of the head, surprised by with Metroid, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
Nintendo was working on a 2D Metroid this whole time. Oh, guess what? It's probably one of the best 2D games ever made. like, like I feel like it may be the peak of the Metroid 2D games. It runs that smoothly. I feel it is. So some people may not agree with me. Some people are always hanging on to Super Metroid. I liked Super Metroid, and this may be unpopular for Metroid fans. I like Super Metroid, but it's not my favorite 2D Metroid game. It's not.
Dread's selling though.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the thing.
it's
Dread's
selling.
selling a lot, so
Yeah,
the
well,
franchise has some longevity.
well, hopefully that'll spur them on for Metroid Prime 4, or
Which is never
or maybe just hey, throw us a little F-Zero, a little Star Fox, please.
I'm never
something.
gonna get my Star Fox. You have
Oh
known me for
no, that Wii U
7
one's
years,
never coming.
and
It's
you
never
know
coming back.
how I love Star Fox.
Yeah, but the Wii U one's never getting ported. We're gonna get another reboot. A new Star Fox, whatever you want to call it, Star Fox Switch. It'll be a reboot
No,
again.
they'll freaking reboot Dinosaur Planet,
Yeah. Oh,
Dinosaur Adventure.
I tried playing that. I found it very. I couldn't get into it. I really couldn't.
I I had no problem with you changing my ace pilot of Fox McCloud into like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I had a problem with the fact that he didn't really do anything that was cool.
Yeah.
I need those. We went from Maverick to Indiana Jones, but it wasn't cool enough. Now, if you gave me a, I hate to say, an Uncharted version of Star Fox Exploring the Planets, I can get behind that.
Mm.
But they tried so much, I just wasn't happy with it. And then they made the Star Fox pure multiplayer game. I forgot what it was called, Star Fox Adventures, and it was like the weirdest.
Star Fox Adventure was
the
the Dinosaur Planet one, and then they had the GameCube,
rail,
the other GameCube one that was Assault.
Assault.
The
Assault. That's what.
Yeah,
the pseudo rail shooter.
Yeah, and he could get out.
Everybody's like walking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even that one I couldn't get. I liked the space bits, of course, but then like on when he was walking around and stuff, the GameCube controller was not made for that. It wasn't.
No.
So they didn't pull it off really well at all. And I didn't play the DS one, so I don't know. And I played the Star Fox 2 on Switch, so that was all right. And then yeah, all right. So we haven't talked about sports, but whatever. Sports happen.
It's our show. We do what we want.
It doesn't matter. And another important conversation, Charles. Introducing someone of a new of a different culture to our American garbage food. I've had the unique opportunity to meet somebody that has not tried a lot of our fast food or even like fast casual or even chain restaurant joints, right? So it's put me in more of a dilemma than I thought I would be in, Charles. Because I want to treat this person right. I don't want to take them. Like, I get we have garbage food and it will be a part of if somebody wants to assimilate within our culture, yes. But I also want to be a good person to this person. And I don't want to...
You don't want to die of cholesterol?
Yeah, exactly. That, I want to show them I'm a good person.
High cholesterol?
Yeah, exactly. So I need to strategize this, man. And I feel like you... are one probably we're kindred spirits in that sense where we get it. Like you get it. You get my dilemma as to how can I kind of ease this person into this, and because it started with the question of what is your opinion about Applebee's, and because I know my opinion about Applebee's. I haven't had an actual good experience at Applebee's. I haven't had any experience at Applebee's where I was like, I enjoyed going there. I enjoyed this night out. I've never had that. I don't have any sort of
who like the 2-for-1 drinks.
I do not have any positive associations with the establishment known as Applebee's. Okay, I've had some positive experiences at a Chili's, at a TGI Fridays. At an Outback Steakhouse, but what's another similar one to those? Olive Garden. I've had
Ugh, Olive Garden's overrated.
I've had positive experiences there.
This is gonna be controversial.
Okay,
controversy's coming.
All right.
Oh no, I'm gonna let's go through the ringer because then it's gonna divulge into places not to take her.
Well, I haven't been to an Olive Garden in like holy. Damn, it's been, I swear, I think it's been like a decade. I think I haven't gone to an Olive Garden in like a decade. Because the only thing I remember was it was in Tallahassee because in Tallahassee, Olive Garden is actually a pretty classy joint. So, yeah.
Baby, you ain't McDonald's special. You Olive Garden special. Everlasting breadsticks for my love. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Like, I don't... Yeah, I haven't been to Olive Garden in like 10 years. I'm for real. Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that.
So I haven't been to Olive Garden in 10 years. I've been to Chili's. I've had takeout from Chili's and things like that. Right? Been to TGI Fridays. Okay? But I can't think of anything positive about Applebee's. I don't know. Maybe I caught them when they were like in an ownership of, I don't know what company owns them now. where like they kind of screwed everything up. Maybe things got better. I'm not sure, but I don't know.
I don't dislike Applebee's. I think Applebee's is a fair balance. I think Applebee's is also good. You see, you live in Miami, so things
Mm.
but if you like actually need like legitimate food before 1 in the morning, then you just get it from Applebee's. Their burgers are fine. I've had steaks there, it's okay.
I'm not
You go
above
there
a
for like your
Longhorn
drinks.
Steakhouse, you know.
I had Longhorn Steakhouse yesterday, man.
Exactly.
We love it. We love it going on there.
Yeah.
We respect that. But I think how I told you the hierarchy was I would always take Applebee's over Chili's because Chili's, I think the only thing I ever get there if I actually have to eat there is either the Crispers
Mm.
or like an appetizer, their Southwest rolls.
Yeah.
That's about it. But
You know, you
I
make
don't
a
try
good
to
point there.
diversify
You make a good
their
point
their
there
menu.
because I love their queso sauce with like all the meaty bits inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of kick to it, some spice. I like that more than anything else on the menu.
Yeah.
And
Like give me that stuff in my veins. But Applebee's, I think I get diversity. Chili's and Applebee's share that common thing though. It's good for if either you're hit on hard times,
mm,
as you all know, or a little bit of inflation going on. We might be going into depression or recession, we'll see. So then 2 for 20s
hmm
is good. Or if you're 18 or 19 or 20 and trying to venture out to the dating world, male, female, whatever,
yeah, you're
it's
coming into your
economical. You
own.
don't
Yeah, you're coming into your
yeah,
own.
you don't have to live in a Taco Bell world, mind you. They should appreciate us for getting them that grande burrito.
Yeah,
But as I advised to you, what you could do is just take her to BJ's Brewhouse, which
yeah.
I've actually that's like the final form. That's the
hmm
Charizard of quick franchise
That's
restaurants because
true.
I've never really complained. And you get Bazooki there. That's
That's
their
true.
like little cookie brownie with the ice cream on it.
Damn.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Their flatbread pizzas are good too, and they have actually like different kind of beers.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
if
no,
she's into
that it's a
beer,
classy, it's a classy looking joint, right? They got the big giant wall of alcohol on the side. They
they
got
don't
the,
have karaoke and they don't do
yeah,
trivia. I think that's very important.
yeah, that's true. That's true as well. It's somewhat dimly lighted, kind of gives you kind of that sort of semi romantic atmosphere, but also
I
kind of
don't
on the
think
party vibe, you know?
anybody, I don't think anybody is gonna have you're gonna be escorted from BJ's Brewhouse wearing like a MAGA hat but going shirtless because they sang "Sweet Home Alabama" a little bit too much.
Um, so we got that. Okay. So for a nice, classy date joint that is also a chain, BJ's Brewhouse sounds like a good idea.
How
Okay.
do you feel about Red Lobster? Do we need
I
to mess
can't.
up our
I
life by
can't, man.
introducing there? I can't, man.
Shellfish allergy,
I,
man. Shellfish
oh,
allergy. I can't. I
oh, that's
can't.
right.
I cannot anymore. I used to. I cannot anymore. Okay.
But out of all places, I'd rather just take it to Long John Silver's if I was you.
Hell no.
I'm just saying,
That-
that
Listen, man.
Red
I do
Lobster,
not feel like getting dysentery. Okay.
Red Lobster is very Olive Garnish in my
I've never seen a
age
Long
bracket.
John Silver's that did not look like it had a rat infestation.
Gotta get the ones that are combined with the KFC.
Oh, I've never seen one of those. I have not
I have
seen one
one
of
right by
those
my house. Yeah,
because I have sure
it's
have not seen one in West Palm Beach.
well, I don't do fast food seafood anyway, so I wouldn't try it. That's why everybody's like,
Well,
"Oh,
yeah,
McDonald's,
exactly.
let me
That
get the
kind of.
fish sandwich." I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong
No, I've
with
had
this?"
fish sandwiches. Okay, the filet of
Couldn't do
fish,
it, man.
the Burger King one's a little sketchy, and I think Wendy's has one, but I think it's like it depending on what restaurant. It's like a participating stores type of thing, right?
But what kind of fish are we talking about here? Because it sure as
Well,
shit ain't cod.
oh, that's what they say it is. May not be it. I think I watched the video about this where it's not exactly the fish that they've labeled; it's some or other type of species that they find a way to put in the nice food coloring, make it look nice and
It's
presentable.
gotta be the human made one or
Okay.
whatever it is because it sure
All right. So
scares me.
all right. So now, all right, so that's an option. Now that this person I'm going out with likes the spicy bits. Charles likes the spicy foods. Okay. So that
Oh,
kind of got
yes.
me thinking
Yep.
about wings. Okay.
Oh,
And we got different wing joints. Okay. We got a wing stop.
oh.
Okay.
Never
We
been there.
never been. Okay. Well, they got wings. I haven't had an issue with the wing stop at all. and they're popping up all over the place. Then you got your two classics, especially down here. You got your Buffalo Wild Wings, and you got your Hooters. Okay. Should I? Or actually, we could actually pair Hooters with like Twin Peaks or something.
Never been to Twin Peaks. That's like one of those regrets I did.
Yeah. Oh well. There's one in West
I
Palm
passed
Beach.
by it, but
Yeah, I think there's probably one up there in
West
like
Palm. There's a lot of places. It's just it's like the same equivalent of when I had what was it? It was a burger joint, BurgerFi. I just find it, and then the spirit just wills me to try it, and then keep my opinion to myself afterwards.
BurgerFi, because there's one like literally me and Andrew pop there every once in a while whenever he pops in through my
BurgerFi
office.
is not an American establishment, though. That's the thing.
Like it's
BurgerFi is just there.
It's BurgerFi's good. Yeah, no, it's a good burger. It's a good burger. But it's very.
I like variety burgers.
No, it's fine. I just feel like it's maybe a little too clean for me.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry. This man just gives me a speech about I don't want dysentery, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, but it's too clean.
I mean, there's a little something to a fast food burger that having the fast casual type. There's you got the burgers from like an establishment like I don't know, like a Denny's or an IHOP. I don't know if you had a Denny's burger or an IHOP burger.
Yes, I have. Yeah. We don't insult either of those places
exactly
because their hangover burgers are good enough. All right, kids.
Yeah, they're the perfect when you're like dead tired or as Charles mentioned,
it's 3 in the freaking morning.
Yep. And they're the only things open. Okay. So those establishments I will not poo-poo on at all. I will poop on afterwards. Please. Because my stomach can only handle so much. But yeah. Okay, so but wing place, Charles. If I had to take one wing place to start out with, do we go with the whole experience of the Hooters, because that is an experience in and of itself, or do we do the whole sports bar Buffalo Wild Wing thing, where she's not into American sports or anything like that, but I am, and well, they've got food, right? They got wings, all right, and I'm just focusing specifically on the wings, all right? Nothing more, nothing less of the other parts of the menu.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you this: does wings involve a form of chicken tenders? Because this is where I'm gonna throw you the.
Are we doing the boneless stuff now? Are we doing the boneless?
Well, to a degree, you're gonna see. I'll take it from here. So I don't care much for Hooters. I think the last time I had Hooters was like 9 years ago at a bachelor party. Go figure.
Okay.
At the Hard Rock, all back then. Buffalo Wild Wings is fine. I think that's better to go with that logic than Hurricanes, because you when you talk to people who've never had good wings, they tell you the best place is Hurricane Wings, and you're like, I'll slap you. It's okay.
Damn, I forgot about Hurricanes. There's one down in freaking Midtown. Yeah, there is one.
Yeah,
there.
Well, I'm here to convince you that Hurricanes is not worth putting it all on for. My problem really comes down to you're overpaying stuff for sauces. I have literally there's times where I go to Hurricanes it's like $35. Like, what the hell just happened? And me, I try to order. I'm weird with my wings. Is how I order my wings. I'm like, let me get enough for now and then for later.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I shouldn't be paying this amount of money for
the. Yeah, you can just go down to Publix and get your own chicken and some sauce.
Right? I feel insulted. So Buffalo Wild Wings used to be the spot before the pandemic where me and one of my friends would go. And we just debrief from work and everything like that. So I have a soft spot for it, but I never get wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. I rather just get their burgers, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because I think they treat their wings more as appetizers. I might suggest a Florida staple of chicken, and this could also create another debate. Is it the Miller's or is it the Ale House? I call it the Ale House, but the Mountain Melt. If you want to give her some kind of American chicken,
I don't know. I mean, I just go with the name now. It's called Miller's. There's one by work. On my end, she hasn't been. No, actually, that's a good spot. I should probably go there at some point.
Because it's not like
she's been to Flanagan's. She's been to Flanagan's already.
Yeah, right. But so Flanagan's is the Miami staple or the South Florida staple. That's what we're gonna protect that. You know that little meme of like it's not Kevin Hart, but it's like some lady holding somebody who could be Kevin Hart, a very tiny person. We protect this. We
Mm-hmm.
protect Flanagan's all our life. I had Flanagan's over the weekend. I paid extra money because prices went up, and I still ate it all. Still
Mm-hmm.
damn good. We'll play that up in this house
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I had to be direct with your question, because I feel like at some point I can't evade or dodge the question, I would go with Buffalo Wild Wings because at least they have what sauce variety,
Yeah.
and that matters.
It,
I could not recommend Hurricanes, and not that I hate Hurricanes, but it ain't gonna be on my dime.
yeah.
Plain and simple, kids. It's not gonna be on my dime. And then Hooters, it doesn't like
The
compel
sauce
me.
variety,
Sure.
because, and that's what I also need to, have stipulate that the spiciness of things is
How spicy?
oh
How spicy can we get this?
I mean she's legit from Asia, so as spicy as you want to get it. It's either that or it's Mexican. So it's you crank that thing up for sure. Okay, I will be
like
bleeding. I will be bleeding out the back, but she won't. So
we're missing. That's admirable. I mean, look, Thai food, man. I was talking about it with one of my friends. I was talking about it with Derek the other day. I'm just like, man, Thai food. I like it, but that stuff will kill me. I'm like, I ain't coming back from that, man. But to bring it back to, I feel like we're missing one other chicken spot, and it's gonna haunt me that we know.
Oh man,
But there's something that's
chicken
there.
spot
Where
that
you go
sells wings.
when you say, hey, where it's like, hey, I want some wings. Let me get that good. Oh, well, I mean, shit, we talk about the Colonel.
Oh, I don't count
and,
that.
But what kind of thing are we talking about? Because we're talking about fast food. Are you talking about establishments, or are we talking about the Colonel?
No, I was just talking specifically about
talking
wings. Okay, but I mean, with chicken, then that's a whole different conversation. Now we got to go into the whole chicken bits, and then we got to bring Popeyes into this, We're gonna bring Popeyes into this. We might even have to bring Chick-fil-A into this.
Where would I get chicken wings?
Now she's had Chick-fil-A, but she's only had the nuggets, and I have already expounded to her my feelings about the overratedness of their sandwiches.
Yeah, I mean, we're hardcore on this stuff. Boy, this is the food episode. When you redub it, is just call it Wolof and Statler, on date night or something.
Yeah.
Because if people don't realize it, Francisco and I are very fluid in what we complain about, and we'll love it, and then we're like, upon review.
I mean, that's pretty much a lot of my conversations, which is
the problem is you live in Miami, so there's a lot of better hole in the walls that are accessible to have. I feel.
Oh yeah, I can just go on Yelp and just look, right, and I'll have.
And it makes
options.
me legitimately hate where I live because of that.
Right. But I'm. That's why I mean, and I get that, and I get where you're living at. That's why I'm kind of focusing on the chain joints, right? Places that we can find anywhere, pretty much in this country, let's say, or even just in the South. So we got. I mean, stuff.
do we want to constitute Five Guys in this as a burger joint?
Yeah,
because I will respect Five Guys. A lot of people give poo poo on that, on the whole belief
actually,
that is this, but I've always been satisfied.
She's asked me about Five Guys because there's one across the street from FIU, and
Brews Room was the other one, but that's Palm Beach, and I don't think you guys have the only other Brews Room is in Lauderdale. I love me a Brews Room thing,
because hold on, no, there's
You have Brews Room?
I think there's a Brews Room. Yeah, there's one in Miami Gardens. Yeah. Ooh. By the Dolphins. Ooh, yeah.
Charles loves some of that. Bahama Breeze is the other one. I don't like Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Breeze is more like Flanagan's on the idea of it's a South Florida staple, but it's never been my patron saint of worship.
I'll probably just go there when we go to the Florida Panthers game because they got that one right there.
Yeah, Ruby Tuesdays used to be. Kids, you wanna date yourselves back 15 years ago. Ruby Tuesdays is when that girl or guy knew they were special. I'm just saying, food was good quality. Food was good quality.
Oh no, the Brews Room is actually in the Dolphin Stadium. So wait, where the hell are the other Brews Rooms?
Problem is you're not a Dolphins fan. I know there's one in Lauderdale. There's one in Palm Beach and Boyden, near Gateway, because that's where me and my boys are good.
Oh no, there's one. Yeah, no, they're in Broward. They are legitimately in Broward. Pembroke Pines, is closest one to me. So yeah, okay. Yeah, that'll probably be either pre or post Florida Panthers type of thing,
Yeah.
That's probably the only way I'll get to a Brews Room, because I know the one that's in. I think there's one in West Palm Beach by the mall, or the what it used to be the Palm Beach Mall. Man, I'm dating myself. There used to be a thing called the Palm Beach Mall, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, yeah, okay. So yeah, this is all. But yeah, she asked me about Five Guys, and I mean, as people know from our ad reads of, I'm not above complimenting an establishment, nor is Charles,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
Yeah.
acknowledging that it will kill us. So I wholeheartedly say, like, I will enjoy a Five Guys burger for sure, but 30 minutes later I will start feeling heart palpitations for sure.
How do you build your burger?
Me?
Yeah.
I gotta get at least double patties on there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because
Anything under that is wrong.
if I'm gonna grease it up, I am greasing it up for that day. And I have to prepare for that now, man. Like my body cannot just straight up take it anymore like it used to back when I was in my early 20s. So I literally I have to physically and mentally prepare myself for Five Guys. Especially the fries. It's the fries that get me more than anything. They just throw them in there, and the fries are half grease at that point. You know,
So good.
I'm not objected to that. I'm not objected to that at all. But I mean, you see how much that bag turns from brown to brownish black dark, right? Like we all see this. We all know like those brown paper napkins are no longer viable for you to use once you open it up. Yeah, of course, I get my lettuce and my tomatoes and all that stuff on there, you know. But I'm not too flashy with this with I mean lettuce, tomatoes, pickles. I mean I'm no onions for me. That's pretty much it. But yeah, I need the double patties and
You're missing the most important thing.
what am I thinking of?
Bacon, baby. The bacon, baby.
I can't justify bacon, man. I'm already having I'm already having the heart attack. I cannot justify.
Controversial opinion. Controversial opinion.
Go
Five
ahead.
Guys has the best bacon for a burger on a semi fast food establishment. Personally speaking, it's crispy bacon that feels like bacon bits. I'll fight it.
I may just have for you, Charles. I'll try it once.
Yeah.
Like I'll take her up. I'll be like, hey, you've asked about Five Guys. Okay, clear out your intestines.
Colon,
And wear some light clothes. You're gonna start sweating afterwards. You get those meat sweats, man. I'm telling you. I am telling you. Okay.
I mean, I think she has the constitution that's better than you because
Probably.
she doesn't. Yeah. She's gonna laugh in your face.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess so. Yeah. Five Guys. What I'm thinking. What other places are there that are chain that I can? I mean, there's some local stuff here, obviously, but
We don't do the Chipotle, obviously. But if you're talking about the Americana, not to get too
the Americana,
far off,
yeah. Is there a Red
the
Robin? I
Americana.
don't even know if there's a Red Robin right here in Miami. I don't mind.
Yeah, bro. There's one in
Is there one in the mall?
Doral, I think.
There's in the mall?
Fun story, and Doug will never remember this, but I was on a date in my 2L year with somebody, and I saw Mr. Solar on at the Red Robin, but the thing is, like, it's not like I knew everybody's name.
Yeah.
there
You
whatsoever,
just recognize them.
So,
Yeah.
But that's the thing. For anybody who knows, or Doug has a very recognizable look.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna preface this. If you saw one picture of Doug Solar, and he showed up, and it was just one time, and whatever, and if you saw him in a meme, you saw him in a political ad, you saw him everything, you're like, that's Doug Solar right there, no doubt. And I knew it was him when it was in school, and I was like, all right. So that's my fun Red Robin story. Red Robin though did not fill me up, but that's when I was big boy back then. You know, I was like, I got to eat everything because I got to power lift like 355 pounds. I think I ate my date's remaining meal along with, but the never ending onion ring though would go for there. But IHOP and Denny's. IHOP is more because
we've already been
Denny's
we've already been IHOP. We've already been IHOP already.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
big
breakfast food
fans,
is
big fans.
Americanized.
Oh no, yeah, but big fans, big fans. So no, she's already got that on her toe. She's a fan already. Okay, so we got that already out of the way.
So
Now the thing I have most trepidations for is Americanized Asian joints.
but that's the thing, though. Man,
That's hard. Okay.
they're all just trash.
Yeah. Like
I mean,
I don't know.
I wouldn't. I would break up with your ass if you took me to Payway.
Actually, you almost ended our friendship when
Yeah.
when it seemed like I was gonna go that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. Listen, but Payway. Here's the thing, too. You know why I'm also against Payway as well, because they opened one up at FIU when I was studying for the bar. So I was already broke for money, but I couldn't eat the third PB&J studying for the bar exam. This is what it's really like, kids. Listen closely. If you're contemplating going to law school, when you're holed up in the law library for 14 hours and my food was literally for breakfast or PB&J for lunch, and mind you, it's 14 hours, so I had to eat 4 times a day. So I would have to go to Payway and get this lie of a noodle that's put into it, which is non-existent. So that's why I'm also against Payway.
Yeah, Payway. You got Panda Express. You got
no, or is it Panda Express that they had?
Well, FIU's got Panda Express, which
Panda Express. Which is Payway's just as bad though.
Look, they opened that thing up and
noodles should not be crunchy.
Right? No.
That's all I'm saying. And
and I knew
super crunchy.
It was garbage food, and I understood that. I understood that completely. And I tried to make it as healthy as possible, just the one portion with the steamed vegetables and stuff like that. And I remember Professor Carpenter in particular. Every crim law class, he would complain about the Panda Express and how pretty much orange chicken is just candy with chicken. And he's not wrong. That doesn't mean I don't like it. But
we'll take it.
Yeah, but no, I for sure. If I had another year at FIU, I probably would have gotten diabetes from that orange chicken. So, but Payway in and of itself too. I haven't had a Panda Express in forever. I think I had one during the pandemic. I had pandemic Panda Express. And
Pandemic Express.
Yeah. and I do not remember anything about that meal. I remember going to the place. It was like a Jupiter Panda Express. I think it had just opened or something. It looked pretty clean, or at least maybe because nobody was going. But it was not memorable at all. So you got that. I have trepidations about PF Chang's.
PF Chang's is just trash, dude.
Yeah.
That's how I'm starting out.
I feel like I would offend her
because it's not accessible to all classes. That's rule number one. If there is a hard rule on any of this, PF Chang's, and it's not the priciest place, not to me at least, but I remember when you were young and at 20, comparing that to the Applebee's, the Chili's, or the aforementioned other places.
I'm just thinking of the PF Chang's that's at the Dolphin Mall.
And yeah, it's kind of flavorful.
Yeah, but it's still like, I don't know. They're still, and I've only eaten there once. And
do they still have a Fridays? Or the TGIFs? Are those still around?
TGI Fridays?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they've got. I mean, I haven't eaten one
because that goes back to the Applebee's. And
it's probably been like 3 years. I think 3 years since I ate at one at a TGI Fridays. And man, I cannot remember anything about that meal either. Which I guess is saying something, right?
I remember they had they have a Jack Daniel's burger. Charles remembers that.
Yeah, they do.
But everything,
and I've had that. Yeah. I do gravitate towards any sort of beer battered type of meat.
Yep.
So it's yeah, but this has been a very fruitful conversation, Charles.
Listen, man. Like sports, y'all already know what happens since you get screwed over in the CFP.
Yeah.
Yankees hate me. Hurricanes hate me. You know, what I'm not giving. Titans are still fantastic. I'm not giving you guys and what you don't.
And this show's really more. This show has been, for the most part, more for us, and people just happen to listen to us, which is great.
Yeah.
And we don't. It's not that we don't appreciate it. We're glad, that stuff. We got the sponsorships and all that stuff. So that's great.
Look, we're not here to rub the nuts on stuff. If I want to lick Jimbo's Fisher, for the umpteenth time, we could do that. Or if I can hate on Manny Diaz, or if we could, like any Florida Panthers. Listen, I can go on about Jimmy Butler for 50 minutes, but you already are oversaturated with that. Even our good friend Jeremy Taché, we love Jeremy Taché. Follow him on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Dan Frijoles, FJOAJR, Charles the True. You have that, so let us give you the snippets that you want on the sports today, and let it give us some insight of what makes the man more than machine. Because instead of being Darth Vader's, we're being Anakin Skywalker's kids.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's reprising his role, right?
Yep, he is.
Hey, yeah. So, I'm glad. Keep it.
Are you going to give her?
Consistent.
Are you going to give her Americanized pizza?
American. Oh, whoa! This
because it has to be.
Holy! Whoa! Hold on.
It has to be. It's a rite of passage.
Whoa! I didn't even think about that aspect just yet. You just opened my mind a bit more. Now I got to think about this. Panthers are up 4-0.
There's one of accepted quality, and there's two of them that we have to just accept. That this is life. That has
okay. So we got the big three, right? And I'm gonna assume these are. Well,
let's hear it.
I assume these are the big three. This is how I interpret it. You got Pizza Hut, you got Domino's, and you got Papa John's. That's the big three that I think of. And then you got like Little Caesars, which is
now, buddy, we are not the same.
Oh well then. This is why we have these conversations. Okay.
So the big three to me,
and these are just the joints, right? The chain joints.
Yeah, these are the chain joints. These are the Americanized things. This is really what we're doing. This is coming to America food edition.
Now I have my reasons for why I consider these the big threes. Okay, we all have it's all personal, right? It's all personal biases. So sentimental and other stuff. But yeah.
But for me, instead of fighting you on it and waiting between, I'm just going to tell you what I think, so you can kind of ruminate on it. So I would say it's Little Caesars. I haven't had pizza in years, so let's say I'm talking about Sbarro's pizza, because that's the ultimate mall staple meal. Yeah.
Damn.
Hit ya. Yeah.
Damn, you just took me back to me at the Palm Beach Mall. Me at the Wellington Green Mall. Oh boy. Damn. Okay. Even I don't think the Miami airport has Sbarro's anymore. As far as I remember. Or maybe they do. Actually, I think they do. Because I remember specifically. I feel like specifically I ate one before I went on a flight out someplace. I ate like
just like there always has to be a Chinese food restaurant.
Yeah.
There always has to be a Sbarro's.
It's
kind of like Sbarro's is like the Spirit's Halloween of pizza.
So, oh man, okay, so that's a big three for you, right? That's a big three.
Yeah,
that's one leg of your big three.
1999.
Yeah, okay. And look, Pizza Hut got us all with the whole reading program that they had. Okay, that's how they got me.
But they weren't sponsored by the Ninja Turtles and the Fantastic Film of the Year, film of like this century, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because when Michelangelo goes, "Pizza guy's got 20 minutes," it's a Domino's pizza.
Yep.
Just saying.
And Domino's is personal to me, okay? Because me and my dog,
good boy,
we would go, and I had coupons and stuff like that, and that's when I was losing like a ton of weight. So I would get the thin crust, whatever. They chop it up into squares with some ham, some cheese, and that was it. Right, and I could actually have that for my entire meal for the entire day. Calorie counting, all that stuff. That's way back when. I would take my dog and we would just go, and that was our thing. We would go to the park, we'd sit out there, and we just eat pizza together. So Domino's holds a special place in my heart. People shit on Domino's and stuff like that. I'd be like, no, man, they got some good stuff. Okay, they treat me right. They treated my dog right. I'm always have a special place in my heart for that that establishment. So there you go. And peeks up for the things, and then I guess Papa John, my sister, whenever I don't eat Papa John's on my own. I never order Papa John's for myself. I never do. It's always someone else that orders it, and I just happen to be in the room. Okay, so it just happens to be there, and that's how I consume Papa John's. To be honest, but it just happens to be there quite often in, I guess, the people that I've associated myself with. So that's Papa John's, and then Little Caesars. I mean, for a while there were none in like West Palm Beach for a long time, for a long ass time, and then like they started coming back, I guess down here or something like that. I guess they restructured. I have no idea. And then the only Little Caesars memory that I remember, and it may be the negative connotation that I have for it. I mean, it's not really negative connotation. It's just a bad experience afterwards. And it was me after my Civ Pro final exam, and I was just hate eating those $5 hot and ready pizzas. I bought two of them right afterwards,
that's what
and
you
I
do
just
in
started
law school,
and I just
baby.
started eating them in my car. I for sure thought I failed Civ Pro. I thought I was angry. I was pissed off at the world. I thought I had failed. I wanted to like just kill our professor. Like I was completely. And I ended up getting a B. So I thought I completely failed that exam. So I don't know if everybody else screwed up during the curve. I have no idea. But Little Caesars was what got me through that. But at the same time, I do not have positive memories about it. So yeah.
Well, the thing is, when you get the hot and readies, they have literally no sauce except for like one corner. But if you have it made ahead of time, it has sauce. So I don't understand it. But also, I will say this about the Little Caesars, and it's a Charles thing. They will try to kill you. They make like variety stuff. Remember they made that super bacon one?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I had that. I regretted it. But Mama didn't raise no punk ass up in here.
All right, Charles. We actually took this conversation more than an hour, so we're at the halfway point.
Andrew's gonna be coming on, so it's like perfect.
Yeah. So we're at halfway point. Andrew's still not here, so I don't know.
He's coming soon.
He's coming soon. Okay, he'll be on in 5. So actually, I can do a small segment just before he pops in because I did plan some stuff out. So we're just gonna go. Gosh, where is this thing, man? I always seem to lose this. Better known minor league team. So billion minor league teams out there. They're all over the place, and I'm going to talk about one right here. Charles, we're talking about the Agua Caliente Clippers.
Agua Caliente.
So Agua Caliente Clippers. They play out in Ontario, California. They were established back in 2017. And they are, of course, the minor league affiliate of the Los Angeles Clippers. They have no championships. And, well, Serge Ibaka is currently on the roster for, like, a rehab assignment. So that's the only notable alumni that I can think of for this team. And so, yeah, back in the early days of the G League, when it was kind of uncertain, a lot of teams were sharing affiliates. Some teams were even sharing, like, 3 affiliates at once. And it was kind of weird. The initial, it was back then, was the D League. That was a long time ago. It was kind of weird. NBA was trying to establish their own minor league, and the Clippers were sharing with other teams. They eventually kind of were doing something with the Bakersfield Jam, but then the Jam affiliated with the Phoenix Suns, and they're like, oh, we're out of team, and then they started sharing with other teams, and then Doc Rivers, was like, it's very important that we have a minor league system. So the Clippers decided to, hey, let's just make our own team. And they decided to put it in Ontario, California. They're named Agua Caliente to honor the Agua Caliente band of Cahuilla Indians out there, who are the, I guess, presenting sponsor of the team. They have lots of money now, thanks to casinos and things like that. So there you go. They play out at the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, which opened in 2008. Holds 10,832. It is also the home of the Ontario Reign, who were in the ECHL and now are an American Hockey League team, and they're the affiliate of the Los Angeles Kings. And they also have a major American or soccer league team, is like indoor soccer, called the Ontario Fury, and were once the home of the Los Angeles Defenders, who are now the South Bay Lakers G League team, and also the Los Angeles Temptation of the Lingerie Football League, if you remember that, Charles.
Yes.
Yes, we do. I think there was one that used to play out at frickin' Panthers Arena here. I forgot what they were called. Not even sure what they were called anymore. But yeah, that was a weird experiment, of course. Just playing on everybody's horniness. So yeah, and the Lakers have hosted one preseason game out there per year. So they host one game out there every season. And the Los Angeles Kings have even hosted a preseason game out there too. They've hosted the ECHL and American Hockey League All-Star games too. Andrew is popping up on our show. And some concerts. A lot of, they're out in Southern California, or the Inland Empire. So, of course, they're going to get a lot of great acts. Charles, Andrew is coming in as well. They've had,
guys.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Agua Caliente Clippers, Andrew, and their arena hosting. Oh, you got Carrie Underwood, you got Metallica, you got Vicente Fernandez, you got Pitbull, Bob Dylan, Elton John, Earth, Wind and Fire, Chicago, Neil Diamond, Cher, Justin Bieber. All the classics. They've had various MMA and boxing promotions pop by, and of course have hosted various Raw and SmackDown shows for Charles there. So there we go. That's it. That's the Agua Caliente Clippers.
We have totally talked about sports this entire hour, Andrew. Wholeheartedly. We were talking about, slapping, the Philosophilis, whatever the hell I call it, Nikola Jokic.
Parasaurolophus.
Parasaurolophus. We were totally.
I'm going to put this because I never showed it during the. So for anybody who's watching the video version of this, and I don't know, to describe people for the audio version, I am putting on a Parasaurolophus image right now on the screen here. So that's what a Parasaurolophus looks like. Has a big giant cone in the back of the head.
Starting center of the Denver Nuggets.
And according to Charles, that looks like Nikola Jokic, the current defending NBA MVP.
You mean, he's a joke. I'm just saying.
So there you go.
That hate is strong.
There he is.
And I think we have the show
angles.
the day he comes. We go against again, right?
Yeah. Oh boy. So, Andrew, you have come in just in time for a word from our non-sponsors. Okay.
Nice.
So, people, places, things, concept, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the past week. And yeah, who wants to start out for this week?
I'd like to.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew. Let's see what you got.
I want to give a huge, huge, huge shout out to Microsoft.
God,
wow.
What a coincidence.
Well, yeah, because, Andrew, they are actually a sponsor.
Really?
Yes.
I'll be damned.
We are shilling the Xbox Series S today.
Well,
And
my non-sponsorship is indeed related to the Xbox, but it's not the Xbox Series S or whichever. For those who don't know, 20 years ago yesterday, the original Xbox was released. And I know certainly it changed the world forever, the gaming world forever, because of a little game called Halo. But I want to just go on a personal journey, if you will. So, I was never really a big, I had friends. When I lived, I was born and raised in Oklahoma till I was 9. And I moved to Orlando just before I turned 10. So I had no friends here when I first moved to Orlando. And I mean, luckily enough for me, there was a family right across the street from the apartment we were living in that they're incredibly nice. The kids were much older than I was. I mean, I moved when I was in the third grade. They were like, one of them I think was a sophomore in high school. One of them was a freshman in high school. They were much older than me. But they still treated me nicely. The whole family was just amazing. The son had a PS2 and had an Xbox. I never had gaming consoles growing up. I just had I just had a game, or not even a gaming PC. Those didn't exist back then. I just had a PC. You all remember e-machines?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember back when IBM wasn't making Jeopardy winning machines? They actually made computers. That's what I was working with. So this friend invites me over. We're playing Kingdom Hearts. We're playing The Bouncer. We're playing Final Fantasy on the PlayStation. And then he introduces me to Halo. And this is just a few months after the Xbox came out, just after Halo came out. And I mean, Francisco, you were telling me how you were playing Halo for the first time a few months ago.
Yeah, about 20 years
Do
later.
Charles, have you ever played Halo?
Yeah. No, I think we've talked about it before. I've played them all except for the new ones, like 5, and I know what happens in
Right.
5.
But
I've co-op them and everything.
For the purposes of this, you've played the original Halo in the first and the second.
1, 2, 3, 4. I sold my buddy's Xbox. I bought the other stuff on my 360. I played Reach and all the other ones. Yes.
Good man. So, y'all remember that first mission? It's after the Maw, not the Maw. The first
after you fall and crash down onto the Halo, right?
Correct. You remember how you get out of the escape pod and you're looking around and it's like this blue sky. You've got the Banshees flying overhead. It's this other world that looks so much like Earth. It's been almost 20 years since I first played that game. And I still remember the awe, the amazement in my eyes seeing that happen. It was mesmerizing. And like I said, I forget what I had for lunch most days, but I still remember that. It was such an incredible experience. And, then I was all on board the Halo 2 wagon. I remember when that trailer came out from E3 where they showed the dual wielding. I actually put a picture of Master Chief as the best desktop background. And bear in mind, in 2004, when this is coming out, I was 12. So just a touch under the rated M for mature 18 plus. But I had so much fun playing Halo 2. My friends would come over and play. They used to have this thing in Celebration where I grew up where they would do a teens and tweens night where they would have basically LAN parties. They would have LAN parties inside the elementary school gym. So a whole bunch of us are gathering around these TVs playing Halo. Not LAN, because that requires internet. These were
linked up.
Link, yeah, thank you. These were linked games. So they would have two consoles connected to each other. And some of my favorite memories growing up were playing Halo with my friends. And not just Halo, but MVP baseball. Um, gosh, so many games I played on the original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a deep part of my being. It's weird to say that because ultimately, at the end of the day, Xbox is just a black box that's probably about 10 pounds. It's a bunch of circuits and wires and some games. But it is just it is a part of me. There is an X on my heart that is how much the Xbox is meant to me. So it's crazy to think that it's already been 20 years since it came out. Um, it feels like just last week that I was playing these games when I was still in middle school. But I'm getting a little verklempt just thinking about it. But yeah, so my thanks is to Microsoft for Microsoft and every single person who worked on Xbox because that added a part to my life that I don't think anything else would have, and it's such a great part of my life, and it still is. I still have my Xbox. Um, it's a huge, huge thank you to Microsoft for all these incredible memories and many more to come. Promo code Xbox 20.
Very good, Andrew. Yeah, and it's been I've been enjoying now that I actually have an Xbox 360 and now a gaming PC as well. Actually in the background is a playthrough of my playthrough of Halo and the exact mission that you were talking about, Andrew. The opening once you land on the actual Halo here. So I get you, and I remember my first experience with an actual Xbox. My cousins got it when it released for Christmas, and I was thoroughly impressed by it. For sure, coming from a Dreamcast and things like that, you could tell it was already like a jump compared to what I even saw on the Dreamcast. So it was a very cool experience for sure. And yeah, now a lot of games are backwards compatible on the current consoles and everything like that. And so,
And
yeah,
the thing is, for all these youngsters, if anyone's watching this who's not a millennial, so we're talking. So I was 9. I still remember the original Xbox. So I will give a bit of a buffer and say anyone who's like 7 years old, who's 7 years at the time, so 94, 95, thereabouts. So, or whoever, the graphics may look like shit now, but those graphics were incredible for those days.
mm-hmm.
And I grew up playing Mech Warrior on the PC, and I thought those graphics were great, but it was basically just a bunch of polygons at the end of the day, looking back at it. Or 98, 99, 2000, those were all meh. Again, I thought those were good at the time. But like you were saying, seeing that, it's just mind-blowing. Everyone's talking about, how Forza Horizon 5 is like, oh my god, it's so realistic, and oh my god. I mean, yes, it is. Don't get me wrong. But that was Halo for me, for us back in 2001, 2002 when we first played that. So imagine, for anyone who's listening to this that didn't grow up with this, you have to kind of put yourself in that mindset. It's tough to do, I know, but try to imagine the graphical detail of Forza Horizon 5 or whatever, but seeing that.
Yeah, especially if you came from like a a PlayStation 1 or an N64. You know, it was just that big of a leap.
And it really outdid the PlayStation 2 for a good portion of its lifespan.
Well,
Eventually,
it was more powerful than that. You know, it was just
eventually the
PlayStation 2 had a head
PS,
start.
I mean, eventually the PS2 kind of caught up, but
Well, the PS2
The
released.
PS2 came out first.
Yeah, it came out like a year before that, and had
PS2
like
was like the best-selling console of all time, but
yeah, and it had like brand recognition by that point. But the Xbox was the more powerful of the three that were in that era,
right.
and you could tell, for sure. Like I'm just looking at it now. I have the
well, they had more polished games
yeah.
because aside from that, they had Ninja Gaiden.
Mm-hmm.
Those
We
games
got
kind of look
Oddworld.
sleek compared to where we go from there.
Yeah, we
You
got
remember Dead or Alive?
yeah, Dead or Alive was on
Yeah.
there. Yep. You had some Sega games like Jet Set Radio. Panzer
Yeah,
Dragoon was on
oh,
there. Yeah.
Shenmue.
And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was on many consoles, but MVP Baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, this has
I
been
think
this is
The non-sport show.
exactly. We haven't really talked about it. The Agua Caliente
Holy shit.
Clippers are like the only one, so but whatever. This is our show. We can do what we want, and we'll definitely talk about sports after this. Okay. I guess I'll go next, guys. So yeah. Over and I didn't want to do a video game. That's fine. I don't feel like doing a video game for this because look, I've been playing Horizon 5 and thoroughly enjoying it. Great, fantastic game. You know, game of the year candidate, what have you. That's cool. But mine is gonna be, and we, you know, it's kind of funny. Kind of rolled into this. This has been food and video games. This is all we've been talking about this whole episode. But I'm going with food this time, guys. Okay, but not really any establishment, but more of like a, I don't know, you call it a service, and it can be, and it's a double-edged sword, right? It's a double-edged sword. But I'm gonna go with Yelp. Okay, I'm gonna go with Yelp because I don't know if anybody's watched the South Park episode with all the Yelp reviewers.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when it becomes a double-edged sword, where some people's recommendations and reviews can kind of deter you from certain places when maybe their own personal experience may have been bad, but the overall experience for everybody else isn't. And luckily, I haven't. I try and when I'm looking for like restaurants, because that's what I mainly use Yelp for. I don't look for plumbers or anything like that on here with regards to that, but it's mainly just restaurants. And when I look for stuff here, it's mainly for food. And I go through them. I go through the reviews. I make sure to look at recent reviews. I look at the reputation of the person reviewing as well. I always look at the interior of the restaurants, the exterior of the restaurants, right? The menu, going through the menu as well. So there's various different things that I kind of check off my list. And if something, and of course you look at the star rating too. But you also kind of need to know what you're getting yourself into, right? Because there are certain restaurants of certain quality that you know that, okay, a 3-star review is actually good for, you know, a Long John Silver's that's a 3-star is probably the best Long John Silver's in the entire world, you know? So that one you could take as like, oh, that's a fantastic establishment for a Long John Silver's, whereas a 3-star restaurant of a different sort of ilk may not be that great. Okay, so you just kind of have to categorize certain things, and that's what I do. So and over the course of my time here in Miami, there are lots of restaurants out there. It's a very competitive market down here with regards to food. There's no shortage of good food down here. And I like going to different places, new places. Okay, I try not to double dip too much on certain establishments. If I find a good one, of course, we all have our staples, right? Okay, Andrew, Charles, and I both, defended Flanagan's and said that nobody shall ever badmouth that restaurant ever. Okay. Okay, it is a holy establishment down here in South Florida, and we will not take any sort of slander nor libel for that establishment. So, yeah, so we got that, and it's been good. It's been good for me. It's been I use it mostly for looking for new places to go out to. So yeah, Yelp promo code Food Critics. Oh.
I'm up. I was halfway watching the Spy-Red trailer. You guys got me. I'm like, damn.
Yep.
I will resume that in between. I don't know how I feel about it. It's a 2-minute 57 trailer. I'm at minute 49. I'm like, I have words. But I was like, all right, he's gonna talk about Yelp. This is great because we got Andrew's sentimental love song to Halo, and I find it so funny because I was literally poo-pooing on Halo before he jumped on. I was poo-pooing on Halo 5 though, Andrew.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I don't think it was.
I haven't played Halo 5 yet.
You don't need
the furthest I've gotten was 4, but everything that Bungie made was infinitely better than anything made by 343.
So you would have literally hated the earlier comment that I made when I said I liked 4. I thought 343 did fine except for the final fight scene. That's it. Because
it was okay, but it gave me that. It gave me a Emperor Darth Snoke or Emperor Snoke or whatever vibe, because he just kind of, this is episode 7 and 8 of Star Wars. He just kind of like comes out of nowhere. They don't really establish a back character, and then he's dead. I really kind of got that vibe with whatever that. I don't even remember the name of the enemy. It was just kind of.
It's not the armor. I forgot. I'm getting it twisted. It's one of the Forerunners.
Right, and I mean, I appreciate that it kind of deepened the lore of Halo significantly, but it was okay. It didn't give me the same sense of awe as the one. I mean, the 1 week game from Bungie was ODST, and honestly, that was just a way to make money by making a new multiplayer experience, and they tacked on a game to it. It was super short, not very well meshed, fleshed out. I kind of got that same vibe from Halo 4, to be honest. It just kind of felt forced to me personally.
I like this. I like Andrew actually dishing on gaming. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's so different.
And actually,
dishing on astrophysics.
You know, as I'm looking at a thread on Twitter from Microsoft about age yourself, what is the first game you played? I'm looking through. Most people are saying Halo. I see a Ninja Gaiden on here. Project Gotham came out or popped its head out. WrestleMania 21, Become a Legend. So old. Fusion Frenzy, I love that game. But then it comes out to Mech Assault. Was the first I guess technically, if you consider SNES a console, or in the original sense, then yes. Mech Warrior had been on a console before, but this is the first time it was really on a. No, that's not true. It was on PlayStation 1. Never mind. But Mech Assault was great. Another Mech Warrior game, obviously. That was a great game. Yeah, Xbox, man. I'm gonna stop talking now because I could talk for hours about it.
I'm enjoying it. I'm humored by it.
Yeah, me and Charles talked about fast food joints for an hour. So
Technically, we were trying to, decide
we're trying to help me with my dilemma with regards to that. Okay, Charles, what you got?
So, fellas, it was a weekend. That's what I'll tell you. It was a weekend, and I did something that I haven't had happen in my life since like 1998 at a pay-per-view that I was ordering. We'll go to that when the time comes. But one of the things I told myself was, am I going to do this? Are we going to do this for real? Like, because if we're going to do, I need the proper accoutrements. And the proper accoutrements for any kind of event. For every Super Bowl, there needs to be some celery dip and wings. For every basketball event, there has to be a poster of Michael Jordan and his Jays as you eat some Cheetos. I don't know. I just made that up. I don't think that's true, but I'm just saying that it's canon now. For any kind of, for every wedding, there has to be a wedding cake. And for any time Charles does a pay-per-view, he needs a form of a meal. And I had wanted to try this place out for a while because it had just opened up, and I've heard of it. I just didn't know if it was going to be good. I didn't know if it was going to be bad, but I wanted to try it out. And it's relevant that we talked about pizza. I don't like to think I'm a pizza snob. I just like to think that I know pizza that is good to me. And I don't know how you two feel about any kind of cold form of pizza. You can taste a little bit of difference, but really it goes beyond more of how it's made. It goes beyond more of, did you build the right kind of pizza? So with this particular place.
Wait, did you say cold pizza?
Coal fired.
Coal.
Oh, yeah. Coal. I've never heard it as coal pizza. I've heard it as coal-fired pizza.
I almost misheard. I'm like, you mean frozen pizza? I'm like,
no. I've never had a tombstone pizza. And if you remember 1996, that was, what do you want on your tombstone? No, I just don't say coal-fired because I thought everybody kind of would assumed what I meant by it because coal.
Well, also, when I'm listening here, coal almost kind of sounds like cold.
Possibly true too.
I love cold pizza, by the way.
And cold pizza is good too. We those are the special kind of pizzerias that you hold on to forever. But I've had Anthony's coal fire pizza. I've had Mondo's pizza, but I never had Blaze pizza. And so I ordered on this Blaze pizza, robust sauce, melted cheese, mozzarella, pepperoni, and chicken with, and this is where I was a big fan of it, because I didn't know they can give me this option. So I was like, by all means, tell me more. With a drizzle of Frank's Red Hot sauce. And I got to say, I was expecting something too saucy. I was expecting something too, I'm salivating about now. I was expecting something too spicy. I got some sweet-ass pizza out of it, boys. It was, I don't know what they do, but I think they kind of like butter both the crust and the bottom of the pizza, but it was really good. I got a large for like $20, and it's about 8 slices there. Ate a little bit with the fan. I thought it was very good, very tasty. I killed like 4 slices myself because when I go in, I go in, guys. Because what do? I buy for now and later, essentially. But very sweet, very good tasting. The pepperoni was good. I like the option of building my own pizza. I've had like my pie pizza, and that didn't last long where I live because, the pandemic, and it just kind of hit at the wrong time. But cold pizza, coal-fired pizza, for me being the heathen that I am, I don't do it because sometimes I feel it's a little bit more pricey. It really is. And I'm not saying that I'm pizzaing on a budget. You guys know me. I pay for quality food, but sometimes I can get a good pizza on a Monday, Tuesday for like $8 without having to go to the American staples that we had discussed. To catch up for Andrew, it was Pizza Hut, Domino's, Little Caesars. I said Sbarro's is Americana pizza because it's always on the mall, but that's debatable. But I don't go to the mall anymore. But I enjoyed it. I don't know if you guys have had it. I don't know if it's a staple in South Florida. I'm just going to give them the shout out here. I know it's around. I know it's a franchise. Would I get it again? Debatable. I mean, $20 for 8 slices of pizza, because I'm an economics kind of guy, is, a little steep. And also I had it delivered, so that's probably why I had like a little bit of taste in my mouth about the price I was paid. But I was lazy, and I was trying to handle some other stuff. But they do get some good recommendation for me. I thought your foods was tasty, and I would do it again, and they have variety and specialties. But I just, for the first time, I think the best time for the first time is to build your own, because you want to see if it's at least good quality, and then you can go into any kind of like specialty pizzas that they make. I'm surprised no one said Hungry Howie's is Americana, because it is trash. I said it. But Blaze Pizza, we like it. It's tasty. I probably get it again, but I'd probably just pick it up and go, save myself a little bit of the gas and delivery prices. But I liked it. Definitely sweet, and that's what surprised me. Anytime you get a Frank's Red Hot Drizzle, Papa gonna like that. Promo code not Hungry Howie's.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and there's a sports connection. LeBron James is an investor in this, so there you
Now I feel dirty.
go. Okay, well, so we're
Sports?
on. Yeah, let's actually talk about sports. Andrew, I think we're only gonna have room for, because we're at an hour 36 now. We're just gonna have room for college football and wrestling, which is fine, right? Let's do it. Let's go. So you were on a conference call once more. So what's the dealio with college football? Because things have gone down. Things have gone down. Things continue to go down. It's like this. It's not like things have gone down. Things have been down, and they continue to go down. Right?
Yes, sir. So anyway, I was on the conference call like I am every week. With the after the college football playoff ranking show that started at 7, they have a post ranking show. Sorry, my mind is about a half second behind where I should be. Anyway, so CFP ranking show. They have a teleconference after that. The rankings quite interesting. You got Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Michigan, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Wake Forest, Baylor, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, BYU, Wisconsin, Texas A&M, Iowa, Pittsburgh, San Diego State, NC State, Arkansas, UTSA, Utah, Houston, Mississippi State. Okay, so ask me questions. What do you want to know about this? Anything in college football?
Well,
I want to touch on this briefly because then I want to get to the big news.
yeah. I mean, is there any sort of, for you personally, is there like oh gosh darn it? I mean, my beloved Bearcats. You know, how's this affecting them? And
Well, I mean, I have a side by side here right now of what would be the simulated BCS rankings, which were what were used from 1998 to 2013. You know, I didn't like BCS. I thought it didn't give schools much representation, but ultimately, what it was actually just it was too few teams, but the ranking system itself was fine. It's just there were too few teams. It was 2 instead of. I think there should be at least 16, but I digress. Cincinnati is ranked 3rd in the simulated BCS. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm surprised with how high the committee is ranking Cincinnati, because the committee obviously has a grudge against G5 schools, group of 5 schools. And maybe not a grudge, but they view them as
inherent bias. Yes.
Right. It's a significant bias against those schools. I mean, if you look at the BCS, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 G5 schools. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 in the CFP committee. But then also you have Cincinnati at 3 in the BCS. You have them at 5 in the committee. You have an undefeated UTSA at 18 in the BCS. You have them at 22 in the committee. So it's just all over the place. So I'm surprised at how high they're keeping them, because they have not played well the past couple of weeks. They've won all their games, obviously, and that's ultimately what matters. But they're playing it close against Tulane, South Florida. These are teams that they should be dispatching with ease. And again, it's a double standard. A Power 5 school like Alabama plays a close game. They beat Florida by, I think, a field goal, and it was a gutsy win. The same Florida team that almost lost to Samford, and Samford put up 42 points on them in the first half alone. FCS Samford, not Stanford, not the school out in California. Samford. And Samford, I think, put 52 up on Florida. I mean, the fact that they didn't win was remarkable because Florida ultimately had to put up 70 to beat them. But anyway, so that's a gutsy win. But then Cincinnati kind of having a weaker game against South Florida is seen as a sign of weakness for most people. So the fact that they still have them in the same place
they're lucky to be there, basically.
Quite impressive. Although Gary Barta on the phone call said that they are rock solidly in place in 5, which can be seen as a blessing and a curse, because the blessing is that doesn't mean they're about to get jumped by Michigan State, like a lot of people thought could happen. A lot of conspiracy theorists are thinking that Notre Dame might end up jumping Cincinnati, because right now you've got a situation where in number 6 is Michigan, number 7 is Michigan State, but Michigan State beat Michigan and is still ranked lower than Michigan, which makes zero sense.
This is why I titled this episode "College is Dumb."
So a lot of people are thinking, and quite honestly, I would not be surprised if this ended up happening. That's Michigan, that under the right circumstances, Notre Dame could maybe walk its way above Cincinnati. I think the committee is going to do whatever it can to
them over.
Right, to keep them out. Because look who your top 4 are: Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State. Alabama and Ohio State they met in the championship last year. Alabama's basically been in the playoff every fucking year. Georgia is Georgia. They've been in the national championship a couple of times. That would be a great rematch, ratings-wise, if Georgia and Alabama were to play again, because the last time they played in the national championship, that was the beginning of the legend that was Tua Tagovailoa, because he came in the second half to replace Jalen Hurts. Georgia was going to win that game if Nick Saban doesn't swap Tagovailoa in for Hurts.
So because I don't want to hear about Tua, because I hear enough about that in local sports radio here. Okay, so let's get to the other news, because our alma mater is dead. I don't know. There's a lot of things happening.
So I'll do a quick breakdown.
Because you got the movements. Middle Tennessee State didn't decide to move to a different conference, and
so Conference USA, where FIU is right now, is on life support. Currently, the conference has 14 teams. 9 of them are leaving by 2023. 6 of them are going to the American Athletic Conference to replace Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati. They're going to the Big 12 to replace Oklahoma and Texas. that are going to the SEC. You gotta. I mean, it sucks for the sport because all the money is being condensed into one conference. But damn, if it isn't incredibly exciting and fun to watch. Like, ooh, where are they going to go? Uh, but anyway, so 6 teams going to the American Athletic Conference, 3 are going to the Sun Belt Conference. Unfortunately, for our beloved FIU, CUSA was originally seen as the stronger conference between the Sun Belt and CUSA. So FIU and FAU both jumped in 2013 from the Sun Belt to CUSA to replace UCF. A few teams left from CUSA to go to the American Athletic Conference. So the CUSA pulled in some teams from the Sun Belt because that was the lower conference at the time. The fortunes have swapped now. So now the Sun Belt is the infinitely stronger, and as a result, they were able to poach a few of the teams. The problem is, Sun Belt is not exactly thrilled with FIU and FAU for kind of ditching out. So that kind of leaves FIU out in the lurch because they can't go to this bigger conference. It's like it'd be like trying to get back with your ex-girlfriend that you left. It's like, honey, I'm sorry. Please take me back. See, Sunbelt's like, fuck no. So that leaves CUSA with 5 teams. There was a chance it was just going to be 3, with, like you said, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee going to the MAC conference, but ultimately they decided to stay because money. So now CUSA is bringing in 4 new teams, but FIU is in bad shape, and we're not even talking the conference realignment, because I mean, any look at FIU knew that something was up, that something's not quite right. A school of 55,000 students that are paying $16 a credit hour, up to 12 credit hours toward athletic fees. I did rough math. I put it at 9 credit hours because some people take more than 12, some people take less. So I said like 9 credit hours. It's about $8 million per semester coming in from the student body into athletics. And that makes up about half of their operating revenue. I think they spent like 14 million on the football the last couple of years or whatever per year, not total. Which is it's actually the highest in the conference. So you're wondering, how is a school that is spending relatively so much has Butch Davis, who has a incredible legacy as a coach in college and NFL. They're located in Miami, which is the heart of arguably the heart of high school football. Even the bad players in Florida are much better than the best players in most other states. It's insanity. That's just the state. But then when you go to Miami, you've got Booker T. Washington, Chaminade, St. Thomas Aquinas. Like, it goes on and on and on and on and on. So how is a school with that much going for it, how are they a bottom dweller that hasn't won an FBS game since 2019? It's only been to 5 bowls in its 20-year history, and like, it makes no sense. Then we find out that the athletic director, Pete Garcia, who's been in since 2006, he decides to step down. And then we find out that Butch Davis is not going to be retained for next season. So, like, okay, not great what's going on, but I guess they need to clean house. But then Butch Davis talks to Brett McMurphy of Action News. I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I read I guess friend of the show Eric Davis's article, Eric Henry, right? Eric Henry, sorry.
Eric Henry.
Yeah, sorry. I was thinking of the baseball player. So I read his article about that specific interview, and it's hard truths, hard truths.
It's more than hard truths. It's more than hard truths. It's unforgivable. I mean, look, there's one thing to be said about you know kind of overlooking the program. That's happened before. There are many schools that neglect their football programs. I mean, and maybe not neglect, but they don't treat it with the same amount of TLC as their other programs. I mean, look at Vanderbilt. They have an incredible baseball team, and they're funneling a ton of money into them, but their football team sucks. They're working on it. They're putting in new facilities now over the next couple of seasons. But when you start to hear that they're using 10-year-old shoulder pads when they should be replaced every.
What is this, Bishop Sycamore? Man,
I made that same parallel. It apparently shoulder pads are supposed to be replaced every 5 years, which makes sense because a lot of football players play for 5 years and then they're gone. So I'm sure they I'm sure that they share. There's one guy that leaves and then another guy who's the same size. I get that, but 5 years. It's like they say you're supposed to replace your mattress after 20 years, whatever. But then when Butch Davis arrives in 2017, they're working with 10-year-old shoulder pads. And there was no indication that they were going to replace them. That's a major safety hazard. I mean, it's not as bad as, say, no new helmets, but shoulder pads are just as important. And they say shoulder pads, but also protects the chest and the back. So to have 10-year-old shoulder pads, and look, they got rid of them, but only because they were getting hand-me-downs from Mississippi State, who were getting rid of them after, guess what, 5 years. Luckily, one of the assistants at FIU knew a guy at Mississippi State, and they said, sure, we'll give you our old shoulder pads for free. Otherwise, they'd be working on, then bear in mind, those are 5-year-old shoulder pads in 2017. 2017, yeah. 18, that's 5 seasons later. We are 5 seasons later. We're back to where we started, 10 years. And again, there's no indication that they would be replacing them again.
And I made this jokingly. I'm like, we should just shut down the football program and just make a hockey team. That's what I was saying. I sure as hell will make sure that they have updated equipment. I will run the hockey team.
I mean, honestly,
for Division I in South Florida, it's like, wow, right? There are literal high school facilities here that have better stuff than they do at FIU.
It's absolutely true. It's 100% true. I mean, I've been to. Heck,
you've seen FAU's facilities.
I have seen FAU's facilities, and FAU started virtually the same time as FIU. They both started I think one of them was in 2001 and the other was 2002, and I don't remember which, but
Yeah.
it's virtually the same. They play in the Shula Bowl. It's like Eric Henry said in a tweet. It's the UCF and South Florida are like FAU and FIU. They're very close in geographic proximity. They started at the high level of FBS at around the same time. I mean, UCF started its program in 1979, but it didn't make it to the top echelon until 1996. USF started its program overall, I think, in 97, and made it to the FBS level like a year or two later. So we're talking like year or two difference here between UCF, USF, same thing with FAU and FIU. Look at UCF. We have an indoor practice facility. We have an on-campus stadium. We have, I mean, and a lot of this is thanks to George O'Leary because he put the thing into overdrive because before we were playing at least 30 minutes away at the Citrus Bowl, our athletics offices were mold and all that jazz, but they built a new athletics office in 2003, the indoor practice facility in 2005. They built the on-campus stadium in 2007. And I know everyone says it's a rust bucket, and yes, it is rusting, but that's the fault of the people who built it because they didn't do enough rust remediation. They say, "Oh, it's going to collapse because it bounces." But look where UCF is going.
But
they're going to the Big 12 conference,
right? And USF is not. And look at FAU because, and I went to both schools, right? So, and I was there when their stadium was like opening, right?
Right. Their stadium opened
facility.
in 2011.
Yeah.
Their stadium opened in 2011, and get this, FIU opened their stadium in 2008, but to call it opening is
understatement or overstatement.
It's an overstatement because let me explain why. FAU stadium was brand spanking new. It was new everything. FIU stadium had really been in existence since 1995, and really all they did was remove the athletic track around the field and move some of the seats in, so it wasn't a three-sided continuous seating with one really odd-looking area. It was one continuous seating area now. That's virtually it.
Yeah, FAU Stadium is by and large like it's a legitimate facility, right?
And it's
not just a bunch of aluminum metal bleachers. It's actual seats. It's colored seating with the blue and the red with the Owls logo in the seats. They got the big giant press box, and I think from the you can see the ocean from the press box, right? All the way up there.
You can.
Yeah. Like it's a whole thing. And
let me say this. So
and it's on campus too. So
yeah, it is on
technically,
campus.
FIU Stadium is like a part of it's on campus and part of it's not, right? Technically, because it was 10 Miami Park.
Yes, but they have like an easement or whatever.
Yeah, but still, it's still not real.
Right. It's not really. It's like half on campus, half off campus.
Yeah.
But FAU Stadium was built and designed by the same people that did UCF Stadium. And honestly, I think they did it better than UCF Stadium because they have the colored seats. And I mean, that's a 4-year that's like a 4-year difference. UCF started planning our stadium in 2005. They started theirs in 2009. It was UCF Stadium, but better.
So this has been a huge.
The people that harangue UCF are, it's a rust bucket. It's a bunch of metal. It's a glorified high school stadium. Not really.
Trash.
It's actually a really nice stadium. But the other thing is, it's there. It's on campus. And they actually built the damn thing and built it well. FIU's thing is a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's not.
Their facilities are, and again, their facilities are so behind FAU, in spite of the fact that FAU is virtually the same age.
Like, I've been
And
to
FIU has a larger athletics operating budget.
Yeah, it's still very much when I go to FIU, it still feels like all of it still feels temporary, which is bad. Like, I went to the MLS team, Inter Miami Stadium there, and it's renovated facility and all that stuff. Well, they tore it down and built something new, but it still feels like it's made to be their practice facility. It's made to be their, I guess, minor league team's facility. But it still feels like it has a purpose. It's a temporary home for the main team, but it's still serviceable for everything that they have. Whereas when I go to FIU Stadium, like all of it feels temporary. Even the design of it, right? Oh, it's designed to expand. I'm like, good luck with that.
Here's the other thing. UCF Stadium was designed to expand. They built it at 45,000. They knew that expecting a school that was a couple of years removed from 0-11 and actually lost, I think, 17 games straight. They knew they couldn't build a 60,000 seat stadium and expect it to be filled. But at the same time, building a 60,000 seat stadium is going to be expensive. So UCF built it knowing we are going to expand this someday. You can see the footprint of where things would go. It's quite obvious, but they built it with the intent of expansion, but they also built it so that if it wasn't expanded, it would still work. It would still be a good stadium.
So, okay.
But just like FAU, I mean, you can see there's one section that's disconnected from the rest of the lower seating bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They could obviously connect that.
Yeah, it's like the entranceway to get into the place.
But it works as a stadium, so
because we're at 2 hours now.
Yeah, sorry.
So what's the other bit of news before we you want to talk about before we move forward? I mean, Miami fired, or he didn't fire, he stepped down, right? Their athletic director. That happened. Blake James.
Some people are thinking that the writing's on the wall for Diaz now.
Manny forever. Manny forever. Oh gosh.
But I will say this, and again, putting my tin hat on, conspiracy theory time. I want someone, who knows, Miami Herald, the Sun Sentinel, whatever. I want someone to dig into the books at FIU to see where is all of that money going.
Ooh, and you're putting on the tinfoil hat. Where's our tuition going? Oh, Charles is going to be mad. Because Charles does not like to waste his money.
Because
he also has many things to say.
If you have $14 million as your operating budget for football alone, surely you would think you could spend a couple of you could spend shoulder pads like what, 200-300?
Seriously, I you know how many Rice Krispies treats I bought at the frickin' vending machine at FIU? Where's that going to?
At $14 million, you could at minimum get new helmets every year. Not new helmets, new shoulder pads. They're using uniform templates that are 9 years old. If you have such a good working relationship with Adidas, you can upgrade your uniforms more than every decade. Usual lifespan, I think, is like 5 years before a team either redesigns. And it's not just the uniform design; it's the template of the uniform. It's the way that the uniform is made. There's a difference between the design of the uniform and the uniform template. They're still using the same template since for 9 years, which is a long, long, long time. So I want to know where that money is going. Is Garcia lining his pockets? Did Garcia line his pockets? Why didn't President Rosenberg fire Garcia 10 years earlier when he fired Mario Cristobal? Does Garcia have dirt on Rosenberg and the Board of Trustees? So they wanted to keep him on, so he was basically blackmailing them? I don't know.
I like this.
Is the Board of Trustees or Rosenberg getting their pockets lined? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I want to find out because
I feel like I possessed Andrew because usually I'm the one with the conspiracy theories.
But it makes no sense. $14 million a year.
Sense.
Where the hell is that money?
Yeah, where'd that money go for playing at Marlins Park? Yeah, where'd all that go?
I hope there's an investigative report.
I mean, you remember like when we were at the stadium with Doug, like we were commenting on the grass and how crappy that looked, like all of it.
It's my friend said stadium. That is a glorified high school stadium, not UCF stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You should attend a law school. Ooh.
Eh.
Okay, rant over.
Okay. Yeah, Ooh. Well, we laid into our alma mater there. So, all right, Andrew. I guess, we're at 2 hours and 6 minutes, so I guess we're going to have to cut it here. And we'll just go to the cage, right? Well, shall we? Shall we go?
Do it.
You guys, just real quickly before going to the cage, I spent the last 20 minutes of Andrew's rant in like a message war with all my friends of how I think this Spider-Man movie is just made for Marvel simps. And I have never been attacked at all in my life like this, harder than anything else I've said controversial in my time. And I think I need a support group to die on that hill that I'm not excited for this movie now.
Oh, you are not excited for this movie?
I wasn't really excited to begin with because Charles hates multiverse.
Yeah.
I think multiverse is a cop-out. I think really it is a cop-out, especially given the events of how Far From Home ended. And I think, personally, Marvel has dropped the ball in Spider-Man in and of itself, but I am comparing it to Spider-Man 2, 1 and 2, so it's always tough, and even to a degree, the Marvel Spider-Man games. I don't care for the Amazing Spider-Man, but I'm seeing a lot of people, a lot of haters, who, just because their own Disney overlord says jump, they say how high. And if there was a NC-17 rating I can give, I'll say that off air. But y'all will settle for anything, won't you, from Disney and your masters? Anywho, welcome right here, weekly Truplex the Cage with Charles. Remember, wrestling is not fake; it is scripted. It is a stage fight. It is a ballet. It is a song and a dance. It is about women and men being the holy hell out of each other, chasing glory, chasing championships. Man, I'm still depressed. I took a couple of whoppers there in this group chats that I'm in. It's not one; it was like several, gentlemen. Anybody else is listening, but it's about people trying to establish their legacies, chasing goals, being a little bit different, being a little alternative, trying a little bit different, right? If someone's saying, would you like to try some escargot? And you're like, I don't really like snails. You're going to try the escargot because life is about adaptation and evolving and elevation, trying things unless you're allergic to shellfish, like my good buddy Francisco. And fellas, lots of stuff going on wrestling, and we're going to kind of condense a little bit. Nothing really that I want to comment on. Impact. New Japan, I'm right. I like it. It's okay. We already know what we're talking about. Will Ospreay's back, and he said, hey, on night 2 Wrestle Kingdom, I'm going to challenge, whoever is the winner of night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom for my title back. So we're already setting that groundwork in there. That's what I'll come out. I also say it's a stage fight. If I didn't say wrestling is a stage fight. Ring of Honor, they're going to try to have Final Battle. Poop. But let's go on to bigger news because we're going to split to AEW and WB. Charles ordered a pay-per-view. Holy crap! I don't remember the last pay-per-view that was ordered in my household that was wrestling except for Starrcade 97 WCW. That was in December. I don't even know if we actually paid for that or we scrambled it. But, pay-per-views were kind of expensive. I have been spoiled. So we'll talk about that. That'll be the last thing we talk about in wrestling. But this week is WWE's comments. It's Survivor Series, boys. Battle of the Brands. SmackDown versus Raw. NXT is apparently non-existent these days. Vince kind of forgot about that 2 years ago. They only cared about it when they first launched because, hey, they were going against AEW Dynamite. Now it's just dying a slow, creeping death, so it doesn't matter. It's going to go at TV 14. Interesting, right? Very interesting. However, there has been no build. The 3 years I've been on the show, every time we get the Survivor Series, we're always kind of hype it up a little bit and be like, it's Raw versus SmackDown versus bragging rights. But throughout the years, they've kind of lost that a little bit because it doesn't matter because you don't have storylines that are going to be generating the crossover this year. You don't have general managers, which I think kind of matters because at least in the world of football, look, we're actually going to talk about sports for a second. You go have Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones instead of talking about which, prostitute they're with, throwing some shade. They're basically going to be talking, my team's better, your team, because all these rings. There's something about an ownership or a general managership. At least you can say that. They did that 2 years ago when it was like Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon, right? Kind of throwing things out. Daniel Bryan, on the SmackDown side, all this stuff, Mick Foley on Raw, Kurt Angle on Raw. This year's nothing. You got Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville playing both sides. I feel like they're Mac. We're like, I'm playing both sides. So what happens, I win. You have no stakes in this. What would be a stake? You just have whoever's on the winning team of the men's or the women's get number one contender shots to all the championships. Why? Because it gives the champion, whoever respective brand that is that's winning, 5 new contenders to kind of re-level out the main event, the mid-card event. It's just one of those things. And they've been doing kind of a lot of last-minute drama. Raw and SmackDown both had changes. Well, they've had Bobby Lashley come back, kill Rey Mysterio, kill Dominic Mysterio. So Bobby Lashley, which we love Bobby Lashley, follow us on the Twitter, comes in, he takes a spot, and then you have Austin Theory, who didn't really beat anybody or anything, gets a spot, and then Sami Zayn is taken away from a spot, and they haven't even announced his replacement yet. And they only just had the crossover build now where the Usos came in and beat up Big E, who's part of the New Day, but he's the only guy on Raw for the New Day. Whereas on SmackDown, Roman Reigns has been feuding with Xavier Woods, and he's part of the New Day because he's now King Woods. So it's like Big E's going to go against Roman because that's how Survivor Series goes. You have champions going against champions most of the time, and then you'll have 5-member teams going against each other in a big 10-man, 10-woman multi-match. I don't care about Survivor Series, and be very frank with you. I always feel that it makes no sense to kind of talk about brand supremacy anyway when you're all part of the same conductive unit, and if you're where you should build it for more than 3 months. I think that's really how you can kind of get it going, especially considering the fact that you just had the draft. So some of the people that are on Team SmackDown were really just on Team Raw about a month ago at best. So they should have this sense of conflicted drama, right? It kind of makes sense. This isn't like My Brother Sam is Dead, which is a callback book from the days when we were youngins about the American Revolution and everything like that, where families are split up fighting the British and Americas and all that stuff, the colonials, whatever you want to call it. We're not here for history lessons or literature. I'm just giving you snippets. If you have a 7-year-old child, have them read that. You don't even get that kind of conflict or that drama. Oh, what am I going to do? What are we going to do here? Right? It's just whatever. I think the better portion of it, of literally what you could have done, is you just do a draft pool. And you just say, you on my team, you, where you could have Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio go against each other on separate teams. Build other things. I kind of like the idea of champion versus champions, but here's the problem. At some point, someone's got to lose, and the titles aren't being defended. So you're going to have the mid. I don't even know if you're having the mid-card titles defended because Shinsuke doesn't defend the title anymore. It's not even defending, just showing up. Tag titles, you got Mark Bro versus the Usos. You got Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, which I'm going to like because they've been talking some mad shit in real life. And they just been playing it out. So I do believe that animosity, but I wish they would have used that to kind of merge and unify the women's title. And then you have Big E versus Roman. So here's the problem. Roman Reigns is who, guys? He's our tribal chief. He's the big dog. He's the one who reigns supreme. Big E just got his championship cashing in on Bobby a couple months ago, beat Drew, has a good feud going on with Kevin Owens, who might be leaving, which we'd be sad because I don't know what his ceiling is in AEW. He'll be pushed to the top, but the problem is when you sign everybody, not every hungry dog can get a bone. But if you have Big E lose, here's my problem. Then you really just kind of say that he's just compared to Roman, and you can't do the same thing that you did last year when Roman was building up so strong, and Drew was also strong as a champion. And what they did was they kind of had this whole thing where there was too much disqualification or interference going on, and Roman low blowed Drew and he choked him out. And I feel like we're going to get kind of like a similar ending here when it's Roman versus Biggie, because Biggie obviously needs this. Roman has been champion for a year plus, and he has just been so good, in my opinion. I don't really care what the haters have to say. I have loved top to finish, from the matches that he's actually wrestling to the hype matches where it's just more show than actual wrestling, like he was with Cena, and even to a degree Brock. But with Biggie, he's the one that needs it, because that WWE Championship has no credibility right now, and I'll tell you why. I'll explain to you why. When Roman won the title, the Universal Belt, at SummerSlam last year, or not SummerSlam, I'm sorry, Payback. It was a triple threat, and he came in last minute, and then he speared Braun Strowman, and it was whatever. So the Fiend lost his belt. But Roman at least has had so it wasn't even like a clean win that Roman got, but Roman's had like a year plus to beat everybody. And some dudes he beat with interference, and some dudes he beat clean. And when you do all that, you build and establish the credibility of being the best. He's not like the Persephilus, whatever his name is, Nikola Jokic, who's just hey, we have nobody else, but this is our MVP kind of thing. This is a Steph Curry MVP, where you ain't just going to do it. You're going to do it back to back. You're going to go to the finals. You're going to put something, you're going to build that franchise orders. That's actually the best explanation I can give you of what it means to be MVP, because plenty of people win MVP, they don't do anything. I'll tell you right now, Steve Nash didn't do anything with his MVPs. Straight up. Drake didn't do anything with his MVPs. LeBron did. I was just saying. But you're building into it, and then you have Biggie. Biggie just won the belt. He had a successful title defense against Bobby Lashley in a steel cage, and then he beat Drew. But we're talking about its infancy of at least 2 months. So Biggie really needs that win, because it helps kind of championship to be on the universal level, and that's how you should really have it. And that's the consequences of these Survivor Series matchups when you have champions versus champions, when you really think about it. Because if you want Raw to be a brand that people watch, and you want SmackDown to be a brand that people watch individually or connected, you don't want them to kind of delegate which title is more important if all things relative are supposed to be good. And now we have played ourselves into a problematic situation where we're saying these exhibition matches matter, but really what happens is that when we put the two big titles, the two main titles on the respective brands, someone's not going to look good. So I think you hurt both champions. Roman right now is untouchable, but if it was somebody else, I think you would have that similar effect. A couple of years ago, they did, I think 2 years ago, what they did was the main titles, they had defended. They didn't have the champions going against each other. I think that's a logical thing. Should do. Everything else is fine. You have the mid-card titles going against each other. It's like in boxing and UFC, where you just go say, hey, interim, or you have a super middleweight, super lightweight, whatever, just going against each other, just making catch weight. And the tag team titles too. Tag teams, you can do exhibitions. I don't think it hurts anybody in that sense. But I think with your main, because no one looks at the tag team championship wrestling. I'm sorry to rephrase it, because there was some English words that were said, but I just jumbled everything. There's no one who looks at the wrestling brand for the WWE as like the most important title on the brands, whether it's the SmackDown or the Raw tag team championship. So you can have those two champions go against each other. It's just bragging rights, right? But I think it's a dangerous game to do that with your Universal Championship and your WWE Championship. And why is the Universal Championship also going to win? Because it's SmackDown, and that's on Fox, and even my dogs are going crazy on it. They're like, Roman, how dare you talk trash about him, Charles? But Fox paid that big money, so no matter what, you're going to have people to kind of go from there. But what is Charles' predictions? I won't give every in-between, because I got to talk about a bigger problem with AEW, and I want to be cognizant of our time. But I predict that, because it happens every single year, and it's going to keep going this year, that Raw itself, whatever the smoke and mirrors numbers are, because they haven't fully announced the card, because WWE likes to do this stuff. They'll announce everything fully on a Friday. Yeah, Raw will come out with the overall wins. I think Roman wins, obviously. I think Becky versus Charlotte's going to end in a contest, because, bless you, because that Vince likes to be cheap. I think men's Raw, I I think men's Raws wins because their whole thing is like our whole thing was collectively of like all these champions, former champions, and they replace some people on there. And he's going to look great. I think the Usos win the SmackDown match or for SmackDown side, and they haven't announced to my knowledge of what I checked up on if they're going to do Shinsuke Nakamura, who's the Intercontinental Champion, versus Damian Priest, who's the U.S. Champion. But if they did, they'll probably give it to Priest to kind of keep him going. But Raw will kind of level that out if the math is correct in my head, because I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. But at the end of the day, Survivor Series is a throwaway pay-per-view. It really is. It's considered a big four, but nothing's really come of like any. It's my least favorite pay-per-view of the big four, to be honest with you, because I like me some of that Royal Rumble. I love me some of that WrestleMania. SummerSlam can usually be good, even though this SummerSlam was piss poor. But, WWE's got some competition. Yeah, some competition, because we're going to segue into this. Charles spent some money.
Yep.
But, Vince knew that was hoeing around on him. He's like, wait a second, you mean to tell me you watch someone else's pay-per-view? I'm like, yeah, because, I got to get a little joie de vivre in my life, man. A little bit of inspiration into my soul and all the other French words that I kind of know, but I don't know off the hand to kind of say that I need some inspiration in my life. Find me another word, the other words besides joie de vivre. There's another one coming into it. I don't know. Well, we'll go into it. I was watching Beauty and the Beast the other day. That's why it came into mind. However, AEW had Full Gear. We talked about it last time. We had talked about it, even on the show. I was like, I think I'm going to pay money for this. Because the card in this program, this organization has been around for 2 years, and they finally got me to the point where I'm like, I think I got to shell out some cash, guys. And I'm like, $50 is kind of steep. And we were on the 11th hour. We're in the chat, and we're like, do I do this? And I was telling my other friends, like, do I do this? And they're like, oh, $50, man. It's a couple games. $50, man. That's a good meal. But you guys were like, $50, you've been talking about doing it. And I was like, I think we're doing it because that Blaze pizza was already ordered. So I'm like, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it. Je ne sais quoi. That's the other French word I'm thinking of. Sorry, Vince. It's the way it has to go. But I was like, all right, let's do it. So the card itself, I was like, I excited for. The only 2 matches I wasn't really stoked for was the women's match and then the Minneapolis street fight. But I got to tell you, fellas, Vince McMahon basically tried to sabotage. He's like, you pay $5 a month for Peacock. Why wouldn't you want to do this? I'm like, Vince, I just want to, there's some wrestlers that you let go that are on this card. I want to see. I'm invested. I don't watch Dynamite regularly, but I'm always up to date. Plus, Eddie Kingston, CM Punk. You guys know him about that. Y'all know I have harassed the 2 of you in the chat. With this man, Eddie Kingston, just going on CM Punk and telling him go back and leave for another 7 years. We don't want you. I'm like, I'm invested into it because wrestling is also what? A soap opera. What was the other soap opera stories? Adam Hangman Page getting his opportunity for the AEW championship against his former tag team partner. They were tag team champions, part of the Elite. Kenny Omega. I live for that. I used to watch General Hospital when I was a kid, man. I'm like, I'm about this. The telenovelas. I'm about this. I got to do this. Why can't life be simple? Why can't I just order it and go from there? So I'm like, I want to watch it on a big 50-inch TV that's outside, and Samsung's like, oh, okay, you can order it through your the Fire Stick or whatever, or one thing or another. It was my Fire Stick. With Fire Stick with Amazon, you have to download the Bleacher Report app to watch the pay-per-view and order it through Amazon. I order it. I'm like, $50, let's do it. I ordered it at $7.52. I'm thinking it's all gonna be fine. Because the other option was to use Sling, but Sling you only get like a one-time view within the 24-hour period. But I think Bleacher Report, if you order it from there, you can watch it as many times as you want. You own it. I'm like, cool. I can get behind that. This will help me if I start accumulating the list of wrestling matches throughout the year. And buddies, something happened where I purchase it. It becomes confirmed receipt, and I go to watch it, and it says, oh, you have to purchase it. I'm like, all right, maybe it didn't work. And I try to do it again. It's like, oh, you already own this item. And then it's like 8:02. I'm starting to panic a little bit because I've heard that Bleacher Report doesn't work that well in the apps and stuff like that. I'm like, is it them? To save us time, I was on 2 hours of customer support because when I say Mama didn't raise no punk ass, but she did raise an obstinate human being. And that's probably how I got through law school, by pure rage and the need of accomplishing my goal. I am Kid Icarus going to the sun, but I'm gonna go to the sun. Damn it! I don't care if my wings melt. I'll find a backup. I'm gonna get a rocket launcher or a blast up there, a jetpack, all this stuff. I was gonna go into some book allegories, but I don't want to spoil certain books. Dark Tower. That's all I'm saying. I'm Harry Potter. I'm getting that prophecy, Order of the Phoenix. But So I go to Bleacher Report, I call, and then I go on live support, and they're like, we don't have anything on the account. I'm like, why? What do you mean? I'm like sending them photographs of this shit. I'm like, look at this. I'm like, no, there's nothing on the account. There's nothing on the Amazon account. I'm like, what is this? Like, why don't you call Amazon? I'm like, okay, thank you. But I'm not a rude person. And the one thing I will tell people in life, because sometimes wrestling is also philosophical, wrestling is also reflective life. When you don't know somebody and life's not going your way, whether it's because you just can't get a pay-per-view to enjoy a slice of pizza and watch when you pay $50 in tax, or if you're having some rough days, I do not believe that if you don't know anybody, you bring that energy that you're feeling inside. You know, I don't believe in karma or anything like that, but that's just being the universal law, being a dick, and you don't want to do that. Not in my eyes. So I'm like, okay, fine, thank you. And then I go to Amazon, and I'm like, yo, what up, man? What's going on here? Here's my digital purchase. Here's my thing. They're going from there. I thought it was them not recognizing my email, because what happened with the email was I didn't create an email to get it through Bleacher Report. It went through a phone first. So I thought it was just a mysterious thing. And then Amazon's like, oh, so this is fun facts for you guys, though. And I let the person at Bleacher Report know, the customer support thing. If you order something on Amazon, depending on the banks, and they didn't take it out of my card list, they took it out of another card. It's a shared account, like everybody else does. Amazon Prime, who pays individually when you can just share a family plan, right? Your banks will hold it and they will pend it, keep it pending. And it might not be released until 24 hours later. And the difference between this and then ordering your kind of like movies or whatever, a rental, is the fact that this is a live event. So, and what do you try to avoid with live events? Spoilers for wrestling. Really, it does. It does. I can go late into a Monday Night Football game. I'm like, oh, the Rams are frauds. That's great. I don't care, because it's already a blowout. It doesn't matter, right? No one watches football start to finish just for a blowout unless it's their team, unless it's Super Bowl. Not a lot of people even watch, Andrew's the only person I could think of that would stay at a sporting event for his Golden Knights if they were getting blown out 56-3, or if they were winning 56-3. Fair, Andrew? Is that correct? Only a few people have that level of dedication. I'm not that person. But when it comes to wrestling, I have to shut off all social media. I had to text a couple of my friends like, no spoilers, please. Because if anything was spoiled, and you know what's bothering me? I was thinking I was missing also the good matches too. So I'm like, I tell the guy at Amazon, I'm like, just cancel it. Just cancel the purchase, refund the money, go from there. And then 10 minutes go by, and I'm like, Mom didn't raise no bitch. She raised an obstinate man, a fool. The constant vigilance, as Mad Eye Moody says in Harry Potter Goblet of Fire, which, what creeped me out about that, not to go on a thing, it was never Mad Eye who said it. It was Barty Crouch Jr. So here's Harry Potter taking this as reference, and even they reference it in the 5 and 6. It was like, but dude, Mad Eye never said that to you. It was Barty Crouch Jr., you demented human being. Stuff like this keeps me up at night. Anyway, bringing it back into it. So I ordered it just directly from Bleacher Report on the website, put in my card information, and just jack in my HDMI to my laptop, to my TV. And I watched the remaining 2 hours. And I was so happy because the match I thought I was going to miss wasn't missed. I started with the 2 matches I didn't care about, which was Pac and Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black and Andrade. The story didn't make sense to me. They were all in their own separate feuds and they teamed up. And then the women's match was not so great. But then they had Eddie Kingston and CM Punk, and then we had the main event. And then what did I do? I watched the part that I missed the first 2 hours yesterday. So now, as my big story, the Odyssey going into, look, we're very literature. Read, kids, read. Get off the phone, get off TikTok, read a book, or listen to an audiobook. I'll let that slide. My overall thoughts, I liked it. I think it was worth the $50 I paid. Will I pay $50 again? I don't know, man. 50 is hard. You have to get the right card, because every now and then, like we talk about Survivor Series, and I only have to have $5 taken away from my wallet compared to 50. And you add on the pizza that I paid, it's like $70 event going on. I don't have anybody who watches AEW that wants to come over and watch a very sad boy over here. Very sad. But the matches themselves, I got to tell you, the first 2 hours I missed, I wish I didn't miss them, because those matches were baller. They were so good. They were entertaining. When I make my list of the year from everything cumulatively, there'll probably be a few of them that are referenced. MJF versus Darby Allin was great. I mean, if we're doing star ratings, it was like 4.5 out of 5 for me. The storyline was great. Darby, who usually is portrayed as a glorified stunt guy, was really just doing mat technician, and how it ended, I liked it too, because MJF was really selling that knee. He was making it seem like he was pain, that he was going. It was just terrible. And then he brought in the skateboard to have Darby hit him with it, and then the ref took that skateboard, and when he turned away, MJF got brass knucks, hit him in the face, knocked him out, took him down, takeover. They're going to continue that feud, obviously, but I liked it. The other matches, the Lucha Bros versus FTR was good until the end. I didn't really like the ending unless it was purposely to continue the feud, which I think it was. Very long story short, what happened was, because I can't belabor to you guys like months of background history in the short amount of time, but one of them was wearing a mask. One of the guys who don't wear a mask was wearing a mask to kind of make it like a bait and switch. So the illegal man got pinned. And in wrestling, you can't win if the illegal man gets pinned in a tag team match. But they're going to continue that feud. Rusev versus I'm going by the WWE names. I'm sorry, I apologize. Miro versus Bryan Danielson was very good. Charles hated that ending. That was for the number one contendership for the AEW World Title Eliminator match. So whoever wins this got a number one title shot against the AEW champion. Great match, very physical. We've been loving Miro lately. He has been feuding with God. You heard me correctly. It has been fantastic because he was the Redeemer. He was God's favorite champion. That's the ego they propelled himself onto. And his promos were fantastic. He's like cursing God in his promos. He's like, you gave me a body of granite and a neck of sand, because he had lost his TNT championship. So he's looking to redeem himself. He's going against the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. It ends with a top rope tornado DDT, and then Bryan instantly puts him in a guillotine chokehold. And like not even half a second does the ref call the match. And I was so infuriated because they're like, he's knocked out. I'm like, really? Like, you're going to do that off a determination of a half a second from a DDT and then straight into the transition of a guillotine chokehold? You at least have to marinate a little bit, have Miro's body look lifeless, like he's knocked out, like he just got planted by a Mike Tyson haymaker, but instead they just go straight for the belt. And I was so angry by that because I know they were trying to protect Rusev. I understand. Miro, I apologize, Miro, if you're listening to us on Twitter. It's just tough sometimes when I think of you of one name, now you're back to another. But it felt cheap. I didn't like that portion. It really hurt a match that was going to be like 4-2-5 for me down to like a 3-5 because I'm petty like that. Super Click versus Jurassic Express with Christian. That was fine. That was a glorified spot fest. Cody and Pac, that tag team match, I didn't care about it. The women's match was slow. Ty Conti versus Britt Baker. It was all right, whatever. The Minneapolis Street Fight was interesting, enough. It was fun enough. Eddie Kingston, and we're going to get to the Hangman Page match because we see on the Twitter things, but CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston was chef's kiss. It was like 12 minutes of two dudes just beating the shit out of each other. There was no wrestling lockups, no technical holds. That's how you do it. They made it into a blood feud. They made it into something that was like straight emotion. Before the bell even rang, Eddie Kingston, hit him with his little backhanded spinning back fist on CM Punk. Punk bled for Kingston. They were giving each other middle fingers. They're telling each other F off. Oh, it was so good. And, there wasn't even really like a lot of pins that were trying to mat wrestle. It was just straight up trying to beat each other. The promos were fire. And then it ends with the GTS going on. And then even CM Punk tries to do a John Cena reference with a 5-knuckle shuffle as like a middle finger because, it's Punk. He knows how to get the crowd. Crowd was hot for it. Guys, the crowd was not just chanting CM Punk. They were chanting Kingston, which is what I told you guys on the last show. I was like, what if they do this? I feel like they're going to do it. It's going to be like WrestleMania with The Rock versus Hogan. Everybody's going to be on split going for everybody. And it was just chef's kiss. It was, I love it. I thought I was full from that pizza, but they give me a little bit of that Eddie Kingston CM Punk love. And then we had the main event, Adam Hangman Page, Kenny Omega. I liked it. It wasn't the best match of the night. It didn't have to be. It had to be a match that makes sense. As you see from the Twitter feed, Page won. He beat Kenny. Kenny had been champion for a year. The story became complete. You got to remember this about Page. He was the first contender, I guess, for the AEW championship because it was him and Jericho vying for that title when AEW was first established, and he couldn't win it then. So you build a story like, guy can't do it, guy can't do it, guy can't do it. Teams up with his tag team partner. They win the titles. Then they split. He wants to continue to be with his tag team partner. Tag team partner doesn't want to be with him. He eliminates him a year ago in the World Title Eliminator Contest. Then his guy ends up winning the title, turning heel, all this other stuff. And the fact that Page's victory comes from his former tag team partner, his coronation is complete. Cowboy shit rocks on. There was really no interference. And I love like the final bits of stuff because it was physical. Page tried to steal Kenny's own move and beat him with it. I was like, yeah, this is great. And they even kept the one-wing angel protected because they didn't have Hangman kick out of it. They didn't have Kenny successfully land it. Now, when we say protected, it means that it's a move that's so important that no one kicks out of it kind of thing. Or rarely does anybody do it. But they didn't even attempt that, which I liked. At the very end, the Young Bucks came out, and Page had told him the day before, if you try to interfere in this, I'm going to ruin you. But they came out. You thought there was going to be some schmoozy stuff because Don Callis came out, and then Paige hit him. And then Nick and Matt just look at him and like, go ahead. And then came the double buckshot lariats and the 1, 2, 3, and it felt good. It felt rewarding. It's what wrestling's kind of be. It has to make you feel kind of way. So All Out, or not All Out, I'm sorry, Full Gear, I liked it. I think All Out's the next pay-per-view, or was that the one prior? It's something's coming up. Would I buy another one? You really have to get a strong card. $50 a sub. AEW, Cody Rhodes, Tony Khan, because really Tony Khan's in charge. I will give you a proposition. I will pay you $120 a year. A whole year, if that allows me to see all the pay-per-views are on there. Now, mind you, AEW only does what? 4 pay-per-views a year? So that's $200, right? Or maybe they do more. I think they might expand to a 5. Sometimes they do 6. It's all in between because there's All Out, Double or Nothing, Full Gear, Revolution. So that's 4. But there's always room for expansion, right, folks? But I'll give you like $100 or $120 a year if that gives me complete access to all the pay-per-views. Very similar to WWE Network, except you're not bleeding cash. Vince doesn't care now because he paid all that money to NBC Peacock. So the $5 a month is really to them. Before that, remember, it was $10 a month for all the pay-per-view shows. I'm like, this is ridiculous, Vince. Because not only am I getting the pay-per-views that are from WWE, I'm also getting the NXT pay-per-views as well when they're up. And then I get the entire library. This is a ripoff for you, Vince. You're bleeding money. But since he sold off the Peacock, it doesn't hurt. But Tony Khan, hear me out. Because I cannot, in good faith, pay $200 completely. I can't do it, man. That is so much. That is video games. That is TVs. That is car work. That is clothing. I have expensive taste. I buy a lot. I get a lot of haircuts, man. You got to work with me here. And also, maybe the card's not going to be great. But if you put a flat fee whenever you do create that streaming service, there's been some rumors that's going to be on HBO Max, but I think HBO Max would just kind of be like what DAZN or Fight TV does and just allow you to order through them, just like the way they used to do for the boxing. But I don't think you're going to get the streaming services for new pay-per-views there. It doesn't make sense because they're already burning cash anyway with all these shows and movies that they're putting on there, and they're not getting investment for $15 a month. But Tony, if you do like AEW, streaming service, $100 a year flat fee, I'll pay that out, man. And I get the library of all the matches, watch some old Dynamites, watch some more Rampages maybe, or is it just the fast pass of pay-per-views? I'd be interested in that. I can give that to you. I can't give you $50 the whole time because then you're hitting me with tax, and then I got to buy pizza at Blaze or our non-sponsor and all this stuff. It just kind of gets me. But all around, I'm glad I paid for it. I'm not surprised I had the technical difficulties because this is my life. But Mama and Ray's no punk ass boys. Mama Ray's an obstinate man who is stubborn, hard-headed, and constant vigilance, as they say. That's all I got for you weekly of this Cage. It was fun.
Okay. All right, guys. So that's it for this week's episode. I think we have about 2 more to go. Next week we got a show. Then we have Thanksgiving, and then we'll be in December, and then we'll probably take our break. And yeah, so look forward to that in the future. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Good night, y'all.
Take care.